welcome to the Yerky Boys. May the Candrona shine and strengthen you. My name is Will.
My name is Jonathan.
And we are the Yerky Boys. This week we're talking about book 39, The Hidden.
Yes, which was released in February of 2000.
Yeah, it must have been, right? Because last time was January.
It was. You know what that means? Valentine's book.
Does it really mean that? I don't think we've ever declared a Valentine's book before.
Well, this is the first one. It's also, you know what else it means? Groundhog Day book.
That one, yeah. It should be a Groundhog book.
President's Day book.
It can go alongside the Beaver book when we get there.
And you know what else? Black History Month book. Right?
Right, that's true.
Yeah, it's Cassie.
Oh, come on.
What?
Why she gotta be black?
Well, ask Kay Applegate that fucking racist.
I have a lot of questions for that lady.
Yeah, well, that's why we get her on the show every once in a while and talk to her. We stop fucking around. People are tuning out already. They don't know what the hell we're talking about. We're jammering on. Jammering? That's not it. Uh-oh.
Yeah, I think that is it. But yeah, this book, where it's 39, yeah.
I just wanted to say that there is technically a video game called The Hidden, which I thought about accidentally playing this week instead of reading the book, but it's kind of a niche. It's a mod for Half-Life 2. It's a multiplayer only competitive game, and I just feel like it's not mainstream enough, and I just didn't think it was. I didn't think the joke would land, so I didn't accidentally play anything. I just read this book.
Yeah, that sounds like that would have sucked if you'd done that. It wouldn't have been good or funny or anything.
Yeah, you wouldn't have got it. It would have been a waste of time.
I would have been like, sure. It would have sucked. I don't know. I feel like I'm always waiting on you because I never know if you have pre-show business or whatever for me.
Oh, yeah. You never know if I do or not.
I never know. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, don't wait on my account.
Okay. Well, let's.
But we do have a little bit of pre-show business this week.
Go fuck yourself.
It's time for another edition of The Sharing.
The Sharing.
That's right. In one of the most pathetic, sad The Sharing editions we've ever had, we have one email this week.
Oh boy.
Comes in from friend of the show, Floom12191.
Hi, Floom.
Subject line, short band signal repeating encrypted Yerk message. Now, if there's new listeners, they might not know that Floom is a frequent listener and writer-inner and also is a Yerk.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Hence
the number. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Hence the name and the number.
Right.
Floom writes, good cycle, and may the Candrona shine and strengthen you. It's fun. It's fun to get to read that because I don't usually get to say it.
That's true. We could switch it up if you wanted to. You should read this email.
Floom12191 reporting in. Message on shortband to avoid detection from the soft-hearted fools who pursue me. The same idiots who found me Candrona starved and took me in. Apparently there's some kind of peace movement where the host and us get along in harmony. Yeah, I went native for a bit. Tried to play the part to get my strength up, but somehow even this far out, a fellow Yerk knew of my demotion from Subvisor. I mean, that sealed my fate. Yerks killing Yerks is how the Dracon beam burns you, but not for these wimps. So there's a lot of lore. I hope people are at home are following along with the Floom plot.
Right. Yeah. No, this is a major subplot for our podcast.
Now here, Floom says breaking character.
Uh-oh.
Here's the central part of the message.
The OOC.
Floom writes, I just want to plug your Patreon real quick.
Oh, no.
And then in quotes, check out the Yerky Boys on Patreon for the same cost of a few packs of cigarettes. Save your lungs and join the fun. Get Animorph parody songs, film discussions, and so much more. What are you waiting for? Lung cancer? Join now.
That's a good pitch.
Then returning to character. It was a shock to see how much fight my host put up when I tried to make a run for it. It would seem these traitors have taught the humans how to resist us. Yes, I tried to force the host to relive their worst memories, but they continued to fight my control. They were not so able once I let them live my memories. Ah, the bliss and excitement. I flooded him with taxon memories, the gore and gorging frenzy. Suddenly he fell down, writhing on the floor like a worm. A woman tried to break him from my trance, his wife from his memories. He spun around and bit into her calf. In a way, he went native too. He was driven to the edge of sanity and broken down into a puppet once more. I am happy to say I have gotten away with a host, a portable Candrona, and an RV. I've been delayed long enough. Next stop, Subvisor 21. Flume 12191 signing out.
What is our life?
So,
what are we doing here?
So just to recap, outside of Flume's personal story arc, the purpose of this email is not a question or a comment on the Animorphs books, but it basically is he feels sorry for us, I think, and is sad that people aren't signed up to our Patreon, and he loves our Patreon and is so devoted to our show and supporting us that he took time out of his day to try to plug the show to other listeners of his own accord. Which I feel like, I guess it makes me feel good, but it also makes me feel pathetic. But Flume's one of the good ones. I mean, this guy is he is. I don't want to play favorites or anything, but of all our patrons and listeners, he is the best one.
That's fair enough.
You know, sometimes
listen, I like that there's an ongoing story arc in our podcast. I think that's good. I'm more than happy to keep reading out this drawn out fanfic.
Yeah, well, I think it's happening. I think it's real.
Yeah, I mean, it is happening.
I don't know what you mean by fanfic. You mean fantastic, non-fiction?
No. Oh, right. I see what you're saying. Yeah, because it's
the FA stands for fantastic, and the N stands for non. Fan fiction. Okay, so thanks, Flume. We love you, and listen, Flume's not kidding around. Patreon.com/the for only $5 a month, which, by the way, I think is not even enough to get you one pack of cigarettes anymore.
That's probably true.
I could be wrong. Maybe it depends on what state you live in.
Yeah, I'm not a degenerate smoker, so I wouldn't know.
I feel like a pack of cigarettes now is like $11 or something, but I don't know. Last week we put up an episode about Cinnabon.
I think it was a pretty good episode.
Yeah, you're going to need to listen to that because you won't believe how badly Will fucked it up.
I was going to say, you won't believe how upset John gets over nothing. It's pretty good. Listen, it's a good episode. It's worth your $5.
Yeah, let's just say if I had played the video game The Hidden this week, it wouldn't have been as big a fuck up as what he did.
I don't think that's true.
It's true. And this week we're talking about Jeff Goldblum, The Fly. Not the movie. That's what we're talking about. Jeff Goldblum, parentheses, The Fly.
Yeah,
and you'll see why that's relevant after we get into today's book.
Yeah, I did a good job picking that one. You can. I mean,
it was already on the list, but
yeah, but I chose it to come for this. Listen. There's all kinds of good content. You won't be disappointed. Let's do another 10 minutes of pitching our Patreon.
The sharing. Listen, people need to know. If you're listening to this, you'll fucking like it over there. I'm not fucking around. I wouldn't fucking lie to you. Sorry for cursing.
It's okay. Thank you, Eflin.
Let's get into the book.
You are appreciated. Your stories are appreciated.
All right, we gave him enough. Fuck him. Let's get into the book.
All right. So first, point of business with all of these is Ghostwriter. This is another Laura Batyani Weiss.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I got scared again when you said ghost.
I know, it's spooky. She did 27 and 31, which I don't know if you remember these. 27 I know you don't keep track of the
I remember because I looked already.
Okay. Okay, but for those of you who don't remember, 27 is the Pemelite ship and introduction of the Drode, and 31 is the one where Jake goes on what you call it, vacation,
Well, why don't you
and
say
Tom.
the titles of them? That might help people.
What the fuck even were they? I don't
See, this is
remember.
what makes you weird. Why do you only know the numbers and not the
Sometimes I
names?
remember the names, and sometimes I forget them.
Do you have like a
31 is the
weird?
so and 27 is the exposed. Yeah, those
Okay,
are
you know
boring
what?
names.
I
Those
take it
suck.
back. You're right. The names are so generic. It doesn't even matter.
All right, but the point is, this is her last book that she did.
Yeah, the trilogy is complete.
The trilogy is complete. Um, you
We
can
we
definitely
really liked
see.
her last one.
Yeah, we really. I think the first one we both thought was fine. I think I thought it was toward the good end of fine, and you thought it was toward the bad end of fine, but
It
gave it
was
the
like
Drode bump.
yeah, yeah. It was like okay. It was like meh. But we
Yeah,
really liked
but we
the
both
other
really
one.
liked 31, and now we have this one. Uh, so I mean, I don't know if we should spoil the quality of this book, but we definitely know she can write a good book going in.
Yes, it's been proven.
That has
And
been
three
proven.
different POVs too. She's not pigeonholed. This is a new character for her.
That's true. Yeah, this is a Cassie book. Um, this is Cassie turning into a Cape Buffalo.
Yep, there she is on the cover.
That sure is what she's doing.
She
This,
is wearing a what is this? What is this outfit? She looks like she's like a jockey, like she's about to ride a horse somewhere, doesn't she?
I guess, what do jockeys even wear? She's got like a green button-down vest shirt over a yellow t-shirt.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. And then just like some kind of regular blue, dark blue pants or something.
Yeah, baggy, maybe jeans.
Maybe jeans, maybe just sweatpants actually. I don't know. And it looks like, is she wearing sneakers or just socks? I can't tell.
I would assume it's sneakers, but I can't see. It's underneath the Watch Animorphs on TV logo.
Well, yeah, I mean, even without, I'm looking at the picture without it, and
Mm,
it just looks like a white blur. I can't tell what
gotcha.
that is. But by the way, for our UK listeners, those are trainers.
Mm, sure. Now, what really makes Cassie in this is what the fuck is her pose and facial expression? What is going on? Who directed her to do this in the photo shoot?
It's the funniest, stupidest pose. She's standing with her legs spread, with one arm in kind of like a "we can do it," like down. It's
Yeah.
down by her side, but it's like she's clenching her fist, like I'm ready to go. I'm a
Yeah.
powerful young woman,
Yeah, knees
and
are like slightly bent, like she's doing a cool kind of half power pose, like
mm,
yeah type of thing.
yeah, like yes, and
Yeah,
she's looking right at the quote unquote camera,
yeah,
making with this kind of subtle smirk on her face with her eyebrows, like she's like, what do you, look at what I'm fucking doing here,
yeah. She's like, oh yeah, I got
fucking,
swag.
yeah, she's
Can't
real.
say I don't got swag.
She's got Riz. You know what I'm saying?
Right? Yeah, I'm too
She.
old for Riz.
It's giving BDE. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is very funny and weird. It is such a funny, stupid. I'm like, I kind of feel bad for this model. By the way, we still need to find these photo models. I really want to know where they are now.
dead,
Because if they got together
jumped in
and
front of a bus.
now, we'd see like 40-year-old Animorphs. Like they would all
That's
imagine a reunion photo.
yeah, that's true. We'd know what
Be
they look like.
amazing. Yeah, this is them. Okay. Anyway, her hair is also what is her hair? It's just like tied back in a ponytail or something. Like, does Cassie have really short hair? I don't even remember. Does she have
It looks like
just
it's really short. I feel like she does have short hair, maybe, but I don't know if that's actually a thing from the books or just like a thing from the model.
yeah, I do think the covers with Cassie always have very short. Yeah, she doesn't. Yeah, now I don't know. Is that just her hair length? Like, does she really cut it that short, or is it always tied back? Or I don't know how hair works. I don't have any, so
And
it's a
this is
mystery.
black hair, so it works different than white hair too.
Yeah, well, come on, it's Black History Month, African American hair. Anyway,
But yeah, I mean, I feel like, listen, Cassie, you would think she would have short hair, right? Because she'd be like, what if the animals bite it or something, or it gets dirty? It's
yeah,
easier to just cut it off. Fuck it.
I think
You
that
know?
it must be true, but I never consciously thought about it. But it's like, yeah, her hair never doesn't go. It's like it looks like a boy. You know what I'm saying? It's very
Yeah, you don't like
masculine.
that sort of thing
I
because
don't. I
it's
just feel like genders should kind of do what they were, influenced to do by our media.
uh-huh. Yeah, when you go against the norms there, I know that sort of thing starts to set you off.
You know what I'm saying? I just think like pink girls, blue boys,
Right.
never the twain shall meet.
Yeah, no, I know all about you and your thoughts here.
It's like that song. You gotta keep them separated. Okay.
New listeners are over here like, is he joking?
They know I'm not.
Yeah.
So
You've never
she
been
kinda,
more serious in your damn life. Now,
she's dressed like a leprechaun a little bit too.
she does have leprechaun energy.
BLE. Okay, so then what? But after that stance, though,
Gonna talk about this face, but
it
I
gets
do
even
feel like
better.
you could stay on that first one all day. But
Yeah, well, she turns into this, as you said, a Cape buffalo, which is a kind of buffalo we all know about.
I mean, yes,
Yeah,
it's like an African buffalo
yeah, of course, we'll get there.
as
Sure,
opposed to like an American buffalo. They look very
right,
different.
of course, and everyone knows that.
Yeah.
Um,
Did
right?
anybody not know that? Did
No,
you not
no,
know that?
no. Of course, everybody knew that.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get into it when we get into it.
Sure.
Fucking dumb piece of shit. Anyway, she turns into a buffalo. And she looks stupid. All right, I'm done with this.
You don't like the way her face elongates here?
I mean, she looks like a freak. What are you gonna do? What do you want me to say?
I don't know. Sometimes you have things to say about it. Now this buffalo's face is pretty intense, I gotta say. Like, look at them wrinkles. Are
Are
you
those
looking at them
wrinkles?
wrinkles?
Oh yeah, I see the wrinkles on the forehead. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Like this buffalo is glaring.
Well,
A
they're
mad buffalo.
the widow maker.
The
That's the
Widowmaker. I fucking looked that up. I mean, no, no, no. Or rather, I didn't look that up. I saw because they used the fucking word the Widowmaker multiple times to talk about this buffalo, and I was like, why are they doing? Is that what the fuck is that? That's not a thing. And then I was scanning the Wikipedia page for Cape Buffalo just for funsies, and I was like, wait a second. It says the Widowmaker on this Wikipedia page. Apparently, that is like African hunters call them Widowmakers,
Hmm.
and that's like a thing.
That's weird because I thought everybody knew all about Cape buffaloes, so I
I
don't
mean,
know
that
why you
was
didn't
one
know
thing
that.
about them I didn't know.
Oh,
I
weird.
didn't
Yeah,
know all
no.
about them. I just know that,
Oh,
they're
I did.
different. Yeah, okay, cool. Well, you're a buffalo expert.
Yeah. Well, you know what
So
they
I
say.
expect no questions throughout this podcast.
You know what they say.
What do they say?
Buffalo, 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 buffalo.
That is one thing that they do say.
Yeah, that's what they say.
They also say, Buffalo Soldier, look, it's like I told you.
Yep. They also say, where the buffalo roam.
Uh-huh. Buffalo gals, won't you come out tonight?
And I think that's it.
Yeah, I think that's probably all that needs to be said about Buffalo.
She's kind of looking like a BoJack Horseman or I'm not sure what I'm trying to think of. Like maybe Where the Wild Things Are. She's got.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
like an animated a kid's book or a cartoon that I feel like they have characters that kind of look like this weird cow/horse faced person.
Yeah. No, I'm feeling Where the Wild Things Are. That really
Yeah.
looks like 2 and 3 on here.
Yeah. Maurice
Yeah.
Sendak. Okay.
Quote on the
there's a
cover
quote.
here.
There's a quote. Yeah.
It says, "To morph or not to morph? That is the question." There's 4 dots.
That's very stupid.
How do you feel about We're back to not having anything to do with the plot of the book.
It actually does kind of have to do with the plot of the book if you think about it.
I mean, okay, sure. I guess I'm thinking about it. It kind of, but it's not like the one that's like Jake's gone. What are
Right.
we gonna do?
Which yeah, so I kind of like it. It's fine. It alludes to what's going on in the book, but it's not so blatant. Just here's a plot summary. It's all right. It's fine.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it's
Okay,
stupid.
I feel you. Now, inner quote here is "Where the buffalo roam," and there's three dots.
Oh
I don't think we did that one.
no, I said it.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
I
all right.
understand. You don't listen.
Yeah, no, I guess that's just how it is.
And
Um,
there's Cassie as a buffalo
yeah.
in the back of a truck with the Escafil device,
Yep, there it is on the
and there's
ground.
some cops looking alarmed.
Yeah. Oh
At
no,
least I assume
buffalo.
they are. They're turning away from the camera, but one of them has his hand up like he's at a surprise party, pretending to be surprised.
I don't like the framing of this picture. Like, there's a lot of sky that's just not being used for anything, and then the truck is like very tall. Like, it's like only the bottom half of the picture has any details that matter.
Well, they had to. The buffalo on the front cover ended up in the bottom right, so they just worked with from there. You know.
Yeah, they couldn't have put like one of the like Tobias is up in the sky, like looking around or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, they probably should have done that. I mean, he's always around there somewhere.
Yeah, I think he was in this scene. I don't know. It just doesn't feel great.
Oh well.
Kind of
Also,
boring.
I feel like that truck needs to be bigger, based on what how it's described in the book. It looks
Yes,
like way
I
too
think you're
small.
right. It could just be a perspective issue. Sometimes the perspective on these things is kind of fucked.
Yeah, it's not. It is. It's not good. It says something on the side of this truck, and I can't quite make out. Looks like there's a phone number underneath that I kind of want to call. It looks like 748-9417, maybe. I hope that's somebody's number who's listening. They just got freaked out.
Yeah, that could be. You should try calling it right now. Do
All
it on air.
right, let's see who answers. I mean, we'll
Let's
save
see
that for
who.
the Patreon.
Okay, okay. Well, I don't see an area code either. I mean, we can just look for like some. California probably only has one area code, right? It's pretty small.
Yeah, I think they have. We'll try both, and we'll see.
Okay, okay. There's one other thing I wanted to point out about this cover here, um, which is that so you know how there's text on the like inside of the cover. It's like an excerpt from the book, right?
Yeah, I'm familiar with that.
Yeah, we don't usually cover this, but so in this particular case, the cutout for the buffalo face, because you know how like the face on the outside cover, there's a cutout, and then it matches up with the inside cover, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. So that cutout overlaps the text on the inside cover.
So does that mean you're missing words?
It means I'm missing words. It means the last line here says, "Huh? Who cares about some cube? Wait, hang on. Ah."
Damn, who the fuck is responsible for that blunder?
Yeah, I know, right? Somebody should have been thinking about that when they put this together.
Dear Lord, what a
It's
bunch of
not good.
nincompoops.
Not good. They, think about what you're doing here, people.
Buffalo brains.
That's what I call them.
All right.
I think that's all the business I had before we proceed.
Yeah, I mean, that's not business. That's the cover.
That's true, but yeah, all right, sure. That's all the things I had to say about the cover.
All right. Well, it's time to talk about the book.
All right, so chapter 1 of this fucking book. Cassie, she is in her barn
Can we
looking
just, I
after.
mean, should we just brace the audience for what the format of this episode structure is going to be like?
No, I think we're okay. It should be about normal.
Oh, okay. Sure. Go ahead then.
I think it's not that different from what we've done before. But yeah, she's in her barn. She is looking after the injured animals, Cassie. And she hears a helicopter flying low overhead. And is like, what the fuck is that? And Eric shows up. Eric the Chi. We remember him. We love Eric. And he's like, Cassie, the Yerks, they repaired the Helmacron ship, Cassie. Remember the Helmacron ship and how it could detect morphing energy? They repaired it, and they're coming for the Escafil device, which is here. We gotta go now, Cassie. And Cassie's like, oh no. So she grabs the Escafil device and she's like, "Well, I can't morph to take it away because they'll track me. But I gotta keep it away so they don't figure out who we are and get us and get the box." And Cassie's mom is like, "Oh, I'm driving off to the gardens, Cassie. Bye." And Cassie's like, "I'll go with you, Mom." So she gets in her mom's car and they drive off to the gardens with the Escafil device. Um, so this is we're the starting premise here.
Yeah, the starting and the ending premise. Well, I guess there's more to it, but this is the central plot.
Yeah, there's another central plot involving this buffalo she morphs, but
Hey, come on, don't give it away too early.
well, they'll find out about this buffalo she morphs, but yeah. So the Yerks, they can track morphing energy again because they repaired the Helmacron ship. I guess first question, how did it make you feel to read the word Helmacrons again and realize that it was plot relevant?
Well, would you like me to read the note that I wrote after I read that?
I would like you to read the note you wrote.
Just right after I read that section?
Uh-huh.
Well, first, the one before that was, "Oh, great, Eric is here." Okay.
Uh-huh.
So that's
Yeah.
my mood already.
Yeah.
And I wrote, "No, no, no. Please, God, no." Switching to all caps. "No, please, no. Why, God? Why are you doing this to me? Do not make me read another Helmacron book. Please, God, why?" Several question marks and exclamation points.
Fortunately, there are no actual Helmacrons in this book. It's just Helmacron technology.
And boy, did I breathe a sigh of relief as I realized that was the case.
But I will say, the fact that the Helmacron tech is central to the plot might be a harbinger of things to come.
I do not like that you just said that.
Why?
I really wish you didn't say that.
No, I mean like this book.
Oh,
like,
you mean in this? Oh,
yeah.
okay.
No, I mean like in this book, the fact that we immediately open on Helmacron tech, it might be telling as to the quality of this book and what's going to be happening.
Interesting. Yeah, we'll see.
Maybe I would be. It would be very funny to me if we fundamentally disagree about this book.
I don't know. We're going to find out. Helmacrons. You can verify for sure that K.A. Applegate wrote the outline for this book because no one of their own accord was going to bring the Helmacrons back up again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Only she likes these things. There's no chance another ghostwriter would just be like, "Oh, they're clamoring for the Helmacrons. All the kids want more Helmacron tech."
I want more Well, I didn't want more Helmacron tech, but I did want more Helmacrons.
Yeah, well, fortunately, you weren't in charge, so we got this. Even Cassie says, "Oh, great, the Helmacrons again." Anyway.
So...
Yeah.
I mean, tell me what you're thinking.
I don't know. The cube is back.
Escafil device.
And now I
also
do
known as the
like... Yeah, something I complained about a lot before, and I'll do it again, is that they sometimes call it a blue box. But in this book, they also sometimes call it the blue cube. It feels like more than they used to. And I just think the cube... It should be called a cube. It shouldn't be called a box. It's not a box. You know, I feel like a box implies that you can put things inside of it, like it holds something. But it's a cube. It's just it's a solid object. Do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
It also anyway, whatever. I
always called it the Escafil device.
Sure, they don't really say that too much in this book.
I mean, I'm also a giant loser nerd. So. There's morphing energy in the box. That's what's in the box.
Oh, right, of course. But hey, do you want to play with my Rubik's box? Sounds stupid. Doesn't make sense.
It sounds weirdly sexual, like in a bad way.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's like, well, we don't need to. I'm not going to elaborate on what that might mean. I tell you, when I get under the sheets with the lady, it's as hard as a Rubik's Cube. I don't know what the hell's going on down there.
Now, listen, immediately with this plot, One of the things you should be thinking, I don't know if you thought this because maybe there's too much shit has happened in this series and you're kind of forgetting it. But the immediate thought here is, oh, they did this in Megamorphs 1 with the Valik.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
The Yerks could detect morphing energy. Only in Megamorphs 1, they had a cool monster that could do it, and they had to like fight this cool unknown monster. Here it's just some Yerks and helicopters flying around. But it's the same, like they've done this. They've done this literal exact thing. Oh, they can detect morphing energy, so we gotta like play keep away or something.
That is true. I did think of the Valik,
Mm-hmm.
but I guess it's been long enough since I read that book that I wasn't as much in my head like, oh, this is the same exact plot. I was just like, oh yeah, it's kind of like, didn't the Valik do that? I guess they lost that power. Okay, whatever. This is exciting.
Yeah. It's kind of almost like it's fucking. I mean, we'll get to it, but it does feel like in the Valik a lot more attention was paid to like how do we play keep away, and in here they're just like, I don't know. There's chases. um, it's kind of like we already did that plot, so we're just not gonna do it, but we're gonna do it.
But I do, I like the threat of it. I mean, I guess it's repetitive, but for me, I just, like I said, I moved on and forgot. But
Okay.
the threat that like, oh, this could reveal all their identities. It is a good
Yeah.
danger.
The threat could be it like can make it interesting. I don't know that it will for me, but the idea of it is interesting for sure.
Yeah, I mean that's there in the background.
Another big difference that immediately strikes me reading this is in the first Valik book they don't have Eric, nor do they have the Escafil device. So
really
they don't
have
have to
Eric in
play
this book
keep
either.
away. They don't have to play keep away with the Escafil device. They just have to worry about if and when they're morphing. So that does make this a little
Yeah.
harder. But they also don't have Eric. So immediate thought is, if Eric can just like run from California to some deep undersea trench in about 2 minutes, why don't they hand him the blue? If that happened in book 27, he can run super fast.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, he just like fucking Eric can move really fast. He's a chi. Why don't they hand him the blue box and be like, cloak yourself so you're invisible and go run circles everywhere so they don't catch up with it, and they're like, what the fuck I guess this doesn't, something weird's going on. We can't get it, Visser 3.
Listen, if I had a nickel for every plot that could just be solved by the chi,
Yeah.
I'd have like 35 nickels.
Yeah. I mean, it is worse here because Eric shows up out of nowhere and is like, Cassie, you gotta go. And it's like, you want to give him Cassie's like, what am I going to do with this blue box? I can't morph to get it out of here, but I got to get it. What am I going to do? How could I possibly get this blue box out of here? I better get in the car with my mom and drive away. That's got to be the best solution available to me right now. Eric is there. He's right here in front of you.
Well, the thing is,
It's an
Eric
easily solvable problem.
Eric just doesn't specialize in carrying cubes. That's just not his department. It's not his area of expertise.
Yeah, of his thousands of years on Earth, he never carried a cube before.
Yeah, there's two things that the Chi
He
don't
did
have.
build the pyramids.
Doctors. They don't have doctors, and they don't have cube carriers, okay?
Eric canonically built the pyramids. I'm pretty sure he's carried a cube.
Those are big cubes. This is a little cube. He's never trained with little cubes. He just can't handle the little cube.
It just feels very like contrived as a problem. Like if they had just not mentioned the chi, I could just be like, listen, yeah, you introduced chi and you cause all these problems, so just don't talk about the chi when you don't. Whatever, just I can ignore it. But like he's right there.
This
right
is interesting because usually I feel like I'm the one who gets mad about that kind of thing, and for whatever reason, it didn't even cross my mind when I was reading this.
I'm very surprised. I was like positive we were going to have the exact same note here.
I mean, there's some planned stuff later on that I certainly was like, this doesn't make much sense, but I just didn't, because it was just like you said, he's there and he's gone. I just didn't. I forgot about it. Mostly, I was just concerned, like, am I gonna have to deal with fucking Eric this whole book? Then he was gone, so I was like, oh, all right, fuck Eric. I
All
don't
right.
know that guy.
I guess you've just seen it so much and got pissed off about it, whereas I'm just like normally I don't have to think about it, and here I kind of ended up having to think about it.
I mean, I also did not have the memory that he was super fast, so I had
Yeah.
no. That's I truly
I
something I
mean,
had
why
forgotten.
do they even keep it in Cassie's pump though? Like, shouldn't the Chi keep it underground in their dog park or something? Like, they don't need it. They
Well,
put it in Cassie's fucking water pump.
I have a
Why is
lot
it
of.
there?
I mean, I, I don't know if I am, should save this for later or not, but why don't they destroy it? Why do they keep it at all? Can it be destroyed? Have they tried to destroy it? Have they discussed that? Because it seems to me this thing is only a liability, unless they are actively planning on inviting more members into the Animorphs, which they aren't because it goes
Hmm.
badly. Why do they just get rid of it? Fucking blow it up,
Yeah.
smash it,
It
right?
it could be that they want to keep their options open. Like they have used it to let Aftran go whale Nothlit. So like, maybe they're like, maybe someday we do need another Animorph. I know David didn't work out, but like, what if three of us die or something? I
I
don't know.
guess. But in this situation, isn't
Yeah,
this the time when you're like, hey, maybe it's too dangerous to keep?
it is fair. Somebody maybe should have discussed like maybe we just get rid. Like, can we?
Well, again,
Listen,
I'm
it can only be destroyed in the place where it was created. If they have to, it's like Mordor. They have to bring it back to the Endolite homeworld and cast it into the fires of Mount Escafil.
where, I mean, I'm moving all over the place now, but who cares? But at some point later on, one of them suggests, like, what if we smash it into multiple pieces and carry it around to confuse them or something? So that also confused me because I didn't understand. So does it still work? Like, could you cut it in half and have two Escafil devices? How does this thing function? I don't know.
Yeah, no
It's weird.
idea.
It's strange.
Yeah, the only evidence I have for that is that they told David that it could be disassembled, but that could easily have been a lie
How do they
because they
know? I
didn't
mean, I guess
actually
Axe
disassemble it.
knows. He's
Yeah,
the only
Axe
one who
would.
would.
He should know in theory. Maybe he wasn't paying attention that day in
Yeah,
school.
he was looking at an Andalite girl and thinking about Blitzball or whatever the fuck he plays. What is it? Is it Blitzball?
Driftball, I think.
Driftball. Yeah, Blitzball is from Final Fantasy. Um. Okay, but I don't know. It's sort of I like the whole chase thing. It's kind of, it makes me think of like It Follows or something, or like
Sure.
some other like I don't know, like The Last Jedi. An extended chase sequence can be a fun premise, a good
Okay. Okay.
formula. I
Yeah, I mean,
do.
I guess
Yeah,
for me, I'm just like my immediate thing is just
you've
like
seen it.
I've seen it before. I've seen him
Yeah.
do this. I'm already starting to nitpick at dumb things rather than pay attention because like I've seen it, kind of thing.
Mm. Yeah. 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 My question is, how she says, keeps saying she's hiding the cube under her shirt. What does that what does that mean? Like like her shirt's tucked in and it's like sitting at her waist?
She's like holding one hand under her shirt, just like don't worry about what's
How
going
big
on.
is the cube? Like, wouldn't it be obvious that there's a weird, very cube-shaped bulge in her t-shirt? Like,
It
what's?
is it is weird because sometimes it's like we each put one hand on one side of the cube. So I'm like, okay, each side of the cube is probably about the size of like a hand. That's relatively large as a,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like as an actual thing. And then sometimes they're like, especially in this book, it's like I morphed into a wolf and put the cube in my mouth, and I'm like, that's like, half the side length max
I have
of what I'm
yeah,
imagining here.
many questions throughout the book as to how they're carrying this thing in their mouths as
Yeah.
animals comfortably. It seems I don't get it. It's weird. It's not clear.
Yeah.
They never really
I
tell
mean,
you.
when I look at it
The inside cover.
on the inside cover, it kind of looks in between. Like it looks a little too big for a wolf mouth, but a little too small for like you to put a hand on each side.
Well, it's impossible to say because the perspective of like how big
Yeah.
is this buffalo and this truck and these people, I guess if you're looking at it compared to that cop's hand right there, it looks like it's a little bit smaller than you could grab it with one hand.
Yeah, but like just barely.
Yeah.
The problem is that the Mattingly style just kind of fucks around with perspective a lot. Like a lot of times the perspective doesn't quite line up, and that's like kind of purposeful, I think.
You ever do it Mattingly style?
Yeah.
You you start in a weird pose with your arms in a strange way.
And you end up fucking like an animal.
Reminds me of Nice is Neat.
Oh yeah. There you go.
Okay.
Now, all right. So Cassie, she drove with their mom, right? She arrives at the gardens with her mom. The helicopter is still following, but it's like pretty far away. It hasn't figured out where she is yet. Um, the rest of the Animorphs show up at the gardens. Eric had went to get them, so they all know what's up. They see some guys coming around for Cassie. They're looking for the cube, so they go leave to distract them with their morphed bodies or whatever. And Cassie runs. She's like scampering around trying to avoid being seen as they like close in on her. And Cassie jumps into a truck to hide from the controllers, and there is an African Cape buffalo in there. So Cassie acquires and morphs into the Cape Buffalo. The Yerks, along with I believe Visser 3 and Human Morph, open the truck, and Cassie, who is she's still in the thralls of Buffalo instinct, she charges out and starts going on a rampage, and the real Buffalo charges out and start going on a rampage too. They're causing mayhem. And after some destruction, Cassie goes back and picks up the Escafil device in her mouth and runs off into the woods and escapes and demorphs. So, like, it's cool. She got away, but there's still, like, your choppers in the skies looking around. So there's
Classic
a decent
gardens scene.
Classic, is it?
Well, we haven't been to the gardens in a while, you know?
I guess that's true. I feel like for me it like barely registered that they were in the gardens here.
That's why there's a buffalo. Come on.
Yeah, no, that is why there's a buffalo in the truck, but like is Cassie outside the gates of the garden and this is a truck waiting outside? Is Cassie inside the gardens and there was it's not clear to me like where it's just kind of nebulously at the gardens.
Yeah, she's in the gardens.
Sure. I guess.
She's there. She's at it. She's at them.
Why not?
I like when they're seagulls, and Axe kind of reminds me of me in this one part. And you a little bit too. Mm-hmm. And he's just screaming at a kid for French fries.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just like, ah!
That's the sound I make.
And he's like, more! Ah!
I was thinking about that because when Cassie sees the seagull going crazy, she's like, "Oh, that must be Axe because he's crazy about food." And I feel like in the past we've asked this question. We've said like it doesn't seem like Axe ever goes crazy in animals that aren't humans for food. Is there something special about human taste? But here we see that he does go crazy, like more crazy than everybody else for food in the seagull morph.
Yeah. Well, or I think he just leans into it. You know. Like, he could control it if he had to, but he's like, seagulls are fun. They fucking love to eat dirt and shit. That's my thing.
I don't know. I just thought maybe it solved a conundrum we had, but could also just be a fun...
Was there a conundrum? I wasn't listening. What's the first part you said?
Don't worry about it. It's not important.
Okay. All right. So the African Cape Buffalo, a.k.a. the Widowmaker.
Yeah, and you can... the Cape Buffalo is just like a subspecies of African buffalo. You can just say Cape Buffalo. It's
of course, because we all know that.
Yeah.
Does Cassie kind of want to fuck this buffalo?
I didn't pick up on that, but probably.
She describes it as, she says, it was hot and waves of the animal's thick, musky scent were nearly overpowering, but the stench wasn't anything compared to the pure power in the broad, muscular body and the deadly threat of its massive horns. I don't know. She sounds kind of horny.
Some Omegaverse shit, but for buffaloes.
What is Omegaverse? I don't know what that means.
Don't even fucking...
What is that, anime? I don't know what that is.
No, it's like fucking wolf person in heat breeding porn for
Jesus
Weird
Christ.
fanfic women shut-ins.
Well, now that's been mentioned on the show. We can cross that off the list.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, but let's talk about this Cape Buffalo because listen,
Yeah.
look, I got a confession to make.
Hmm.
I didn't fucking know about the Cape Buffalo, okay?
Hmm. So you're imagining an American buffalo.
No, I'm not imagining an American buffalo. I mean, I saw the cover.
Okay, okay. Oh,
I like
because I feel like I feel like sometimes you don't look at the cover before you read.
I think I saw this. I think for whatever reason. Because I
Okay,
looked, I
okay.
wanted to see who the ghostwriter was or something, so
Ah,
I
okay.
just I glanced at it. Or maybe I didn't. I don't know. Maybe they just described it well. Like I understood it wasn't our buffalo.
Hmm.
I don't know. Maybe I missed this zoo book or whatever the fuck. I don't know what it is, but I just kept wondering like why the way that they talk about it just feels like, oh yeah, the African Cape buffalo. Everyone knows that it's like the deadliest, scariest beast. And I was like, do we? Does everyone know it's like I mean, even you didn't know it was called the Widowmaker, but they
Yeah,
use
I
that
didn't know
phrase
that.
as if it's like, the Widowmaker. She doesn't say like, oh, some people call it that. She just says it matter of fact,
Yeah.
like you would say man's best friend about a dog. Like this is just a phrase people know. I just wondered like why not just make it a bull or something, right? Like that to me, that's the classic. Like you get the same thing, big animal horns that charges and loses its temper. I just didn't know. Is this like a commonly known thing? And you're saying it is that everyone knows about the angry Cape buffaloes, and I was just confused by it. I don't know. It
Yeah.
didn't. It was strange to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, the reason you don't do a bull is because you want something cool and new you haven't done in an Animorphs book. And bulls are,
Yeah,
like, not only have they done them before, but it's like, yeah, you've seen a bull. You've seen it out on a farm. But a Cape buffalo, you probably haven't seen that unless you were at a zoo.
yeah, yeah. That's true. It's too bad they already did rhino because that also would have been
Yeah.
maybe a good
Could have
one.
done, like, honestly, could have done hippo. Hippos are
Mm.
pretty fucking horrific.
But it's fine. I came around on the buffalo. I'm
Mhm.
pro buffalo now. I
Okay.
just, I just was at first was a little bit. I just didn't understand, but it's fine. It's fine. I
Yeah.
got it. They
Yeah.
explain it.
I mean, it is not that different from a bull. Like, a bull is a domesticated African bovid. So, not that far away from this thing.
I do really like when Cassie. I do just want to see her go on a rampage and just like fuck up Visser 3 as a
Yeah.
buffalo. And she kind of does a little bit, a little bit, a little bit,
Yeah,
a
she
little
sure does. She fucks up like his limousine. She smashes it. And the regular buffalo fucks up Chapman and puts him in the hospital.
bit. Yeah,
Eh,
pretty funny. Pretty
They
funny.
described the sound of his body hitting the ground as like a whump that like a watermelon would make or something.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, this book. Well, yeah, there's more of that later on. This is kind of there's some fucked up shit that happens in this book. Is
Mhm.
it this scene or a later one where she references like I think maybe it's later, but she tramples people, or maybe it's Hork-Bajir, but she does trampling, and it's not the after effects aren't lingered on, but I'm like, if you're trampling someone, they're
Yeah.
they're probably dead.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of so the problem with that is that that isn't different enough from what I've seen in other Animorphs books. At this point, I'm used to people getting their arms cut off and holes punched through them. So I'm like, yeah, here's some more violence. They got gored and trampled. Lol. Okay.
I
I
mean,
kind
for
of forget which
me,
part was which.
yeah, I just never. I'm very much a pacifist. I don't like
Mhm.
violence. I try to avoid that kind of thing. So I'm always a little shocked by it.
I see. I see. That makes sense.
Yeah, I just sort of am not like jaded, and I don't have a kind of that criminal uncouth mindset that a lot of lesser base Neanderthal type people have.
I would call myself based. So
That's no, I didn't add a D.
I think it's about. I think it's we get it about. It works.
But
Uh,
the real shit's about to happen. I mean,
Yeah, I mean the real shit is about to happen. I don't know. It feels like we're in a disagreement here, but I feel like even at this point in the book, before the real shit happens, it already is starting to feel to me like a huge percentage of what's happening in these scenes is padding. Like
Mm.
it's to me it's starting to already feel like, you know, I need to talk about how like I looked this way and that way and then I ducked behind here and then I thought about this and then I like scratched my nose and then I went, and it's like you don't need all of this. Like let's fucking move on to the part. I don't know.
Yeah, I
I'm
don't know.
already seeing it here.
I think we definitely might have at least slightly different takes on this book.
I feel like we do, yeah.
I don't think I mean, maybe it's been like this for a while now, but we've kind of moved on from the opening scene at this point in these books.
Yeah, we
But
don't really have those here. And
so,
I mean, this is different cuz like last two big morphs, which were the only two big morphs this season, we didn't show them getting at all.
right.
That might also be part of the thing here is that here it's like, well, we better show her getting the buffalo
Well,
and it better take several chapters.
and they also didn't really matter. Like the cheetah, who fucking cares? It didn't
Yeah.
matter. What was the last one? I
And the
don't
orca
remember.
didn't really matter either, yeah.
Yeah, so at least
This
I don't
one
know.
does matter.
Yeah, it's like this is actually important to the plot of this book. That's kind of nice. And again, if this was 10 books ago, this would be scene 5, not scene 2. Like we would have had a whole fucking
Mhm.
thing in the beginning that was just a little bit of antics that didn't matter. So from
Yeah,
that
we put
perspective,
those
they're
in the
moving
middle
fast.
of this book. All right. All right, fine. So did we get to the gimmick of this book? Because there's a reason everybody
Yeah.
remembers this book.
The Helmacron tech.
Yeah. Well, actually, all right. So Cassie and Tobias, right? They're out in the woods. They've escaped the Yerks, and who do they run into but the buffalo? Except that the buffalo is halfway morphed into Chapman. It's a buffalo body with Chapman's head. Because at some point in the rampage, the buffalo must have touched the Escafil device, and also remember it gored Chapman, so I guess it also acquired him while it was goring him. So this buffalo can now morph. It can acquire things and it can morph, and it's doing all kinds of weird, freakish body horror things where it's like gaining and losing human limbs. It's got its the human head on the body. It's freaking out. There's like a bit where we see like it's fully morphed Chapman and he's like naked on all fours, like lowing and snorting and eating grass. But at this point, they start referring to this thing as the Buffa-human, and I will be regularly referring to it as the Buffa-human throughout. So this is what I'm talking about when I say Buffa-human from now on.
Yeah.
And Tobias is like, Cassie, we gotta. This thing is gonna draw the Yerks right to us because it's morphing like crazy. We can't control it. And Cassie's like, oh no, I feel responsible for it and attached to it. But she's like, okay, Tobias, and she goes wolf, and they run away and leave the buffalo there.
Buffalo,
All right.
won't you come out tonight? Come out tonight. Come out tonight.
Now, I will say actually later on in my notes I have a bullet point somewhere that, where I say Buffalo Chapman, look, it's like that man, which I liked. I thought I was clever for that.
Look, it's like that's supposed to be like Buffalo Soldier.
Yeah, it's like look, it's like I told you.
Yeah, but that doesn't fit the rhyme scheme. That look, it's like that man.
Well, see, okay, so here's the thing. In the actual song, they break the rhyme scheme or they break the syllable scheme on purpose to make it more like speaking. It's like Buffalo Soldier, look, it's like I told you. So here, it's like, you're still breaking the syllable scheme. That's okay. It works. You add the syllables and it becomes like kind of awkward.
For listeners, this is Wild Wild West, which will be next week's Patreon subject. No, it should be like Buffalo Chapman. Look, it's like I said, man, or something.
That doesn't work. That man works. Said man doesn't work. That's a bad rhyme.
Yours is bad. It doesn't matter.
No, mine's much better than yours. Anyway,
there's
a buffalo. It can morph.
This buffalo can morph. Now, yeah. I'm at some point, probably early on, I feel like we must have talked about this. I must have asked the question of like, what are the rules of morphing could you give it anything that touches this thing? I don't. It just seems like something, because I know we had discussions like that early on.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we didn't directly ask.
No,
that.
we definitely did. I don't remember the details. We definitely did, and I definitely couldn't bring this up because it was a spoiler.
Yeah, and here it is. It's happening.
Here it is.
An animal can morph, and I mean, for me, that is a very interesting subject to explore. Like, what are the physical and moral ramifications of that occurring? Is like, oh, that's pretty weird and cool. I
100% agree with you. That is a very interesting subject to explore.
I'm like, does it, like, we know that when a human turns into an animal, they kind of get the animal's instincts.
Mm-hmm.
So is that true the other way around? Like,
yeah, it should be.
But it's like, are those instincts, like, does it have the instinct? Does it know how to talk and walk? Or is it more like they get into the instinct of a baby? It shouldn't be. It should be Chapman's instincts at that stage of his life. Can it talk? Can you fuck it? Is that okay? Like, there's a lot of questions.
Yeah. You saw that scene with Chapman on all fours, lowing and snorting, and you were like, oh, man. Oh, man.
Do they actually specify? Because it didn't hit me until later on. Do they say he's naked?
I don't think they do.
Yeah,
but
no,
like,
they
what
don't.
am I supposed to think that this buffalo figured out how to morph a morphing suit that wasn't even on Chapman in the first place? The Animorphs didn't even know how to do that at first.
No, you're definitely correct, but the book definitely doesn't want you to think about that. They just say it's Chapman.
I thought about it.
It does make it 100 times weirder, and it's already weird.
Yes.
It's already very weird. By the way, this book is some of the most action Chapman has seen in a long time. And it's not really even him, but like...
He went to the hospital. That's what he did. But now we get to see Buffa Chapman.
Which I guess it's, it could have been anybody, but they just picked Chapman, so it would be somebody we kind of know.
Yeah, like, I think it helps if you know the person.
It makes it lets Marco make some remarks about, our vice principal or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, also, like, you probably have some mental image of Chapman at this point. So, like, when the buffalo's turning into a human, it's turning into somebody you have a mental image of, as opposed to just like, oh, it's a generic person, which maybe doesn't hit as impactfully for the, like, what the fuck is this feeling.
It was surprising to me at first. They just say, oh, the buffalo has the face of Chapman. And I did not immediately leap to, it must be morphing. I was just like, what the fuck is this?
Well, that's because that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, but they get you there.
Like, let's just start off, like, when the Animorphs gave the morphing power to David, when the Animorphs were given the morphing power by Elfangor, there was, like, a whole process where the original, like, somebody who already had the morphing power was, like, touching the cube, and they were all sitting there and, like, focusing on it, and it took time. David had the cube, like, in his possession, and was playing with it for, like, days or something, at least a day. And he did not get the morphing power until they decided to give it to him.
Wait, what?
It's clear.
I don't even remember this. He touched it and didn't get morphing powers?
Yeah, at the very beginning, like, the whole reason the David trilogy starts off is because the new kid David is like, hey, Marco, check out this cool thing I found. And Marco's like, holy fuck, that's the blue box. And then David's like, I posted online that I have it in case anybody wants to buy it. And Marco's like, no!
See, here's your problem, is you're remembering shit too much. Just, you're not supposed to, that shit happened like 2 years ago in real time. Just move on.
Yeah. You're definitely not supposed to remember it, because K.A. Applegate definitely does not remember what she wrote. You've been pissed off at her before for just being like, I don't know what the fuck I said before. I just say shit.
Now I forgot it too, so it's fine.
As long as you're on the same page.
I don't understand. Doesn't it seem like it should? This makes more sense. Like, if you touch it, shouldn't you just get the power? What unlocks it? I don't even get it.
Yeah, I mean, like, no, it doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
It's just inconsistent.
The David story is a much better story than this, and doesn't make sense unless you have to unlock it. And this story doesn't make sense if you can't. Like, it just... What was the buffalo do? How did the buffalo acquire Chapman? You have to, like, sit there and focus on the thing that you're touching. So this buffalo was like,
he was focused on him.
He was super focused on, like, he was thinking about Chapman. He was like, oh man, this guy who I'm goring right now for half a second. This guy, I'm just all of
Yeah,
my
yeah.
focus and attention on. And then later on, you have to think about the thing to more. So now the buffalo's in the
Yeah,
woods,
yeah,
and
yeah.
he's like, all I can think about is this guy
Yeah,
that I
yeah, yeah.
gored earlier, and so now I'm accidentally turning into him. I do have a note here on this point that reads, "Chapman, my beloved, the buffalo, probably."
I don't have a problem with this because I don't know how a buffalo brain works. It might be just, and also morphing technology is so weird that who knows how it like is accidentally activating it. The buffalo's just remembering shit that just occurred and it just starts happening by accident. Like, I don't know. It's not that crazy to me. I could see it happening.
What is the difference here
Mhm.
where in like book 34 where they had to do a seance to get Aldrea back and you were like, what is the mechanics of this? This doesn't make sense. They should have just said it's magic. It shouldn't have mechanics. And now we're here with the buffalo and you're like, it doesn't need mechanics. It just, I don't know how it works. Whatever. It just works. Who cares? You
Well, no,
know.
it does have mechanics. It touches the thing, it can morph, it thinks about a person, it morphs into the person.
Well, so did the
What's
mechanics of this. In that sense, the seance had the same fucking mechanics. Like, why does this not bother you? It's almost like I was all like, I just I don't care about the mechanics because I'm excited to see Aldrea come back and interact. And here you're like, I don't care about the mechanics because I'm excited to see a buffa human.
Well, here's a
Is
big
what it
part of
feels
it
like.
is the Aldrea seance, which by the way I've already forgotten the details of. Doesn't they spent like 4 chapters talking about it. So that they try to explain it, but they do a shitty job and it doesn't make sense. And in this book, it's just like, look, you know what a morphing cube is, you know how morphing works. Now the buffalo does it too. Like
The problem
it's
is I
not.
don't know how morphing cubes work apparently because I thought I did, but they don't work like this.
Well, they do. They work like this.
Apparently they do.
They touch the cube, they can morph. Buffalo touch the cube, it can morph. I don't know
Okay,
what your problem is.
listen, I fully understand that the morphing rules don't make sense, and I am willing to hand wave. Fuck it, it doesn't make sense. Who cares? Like the mechanics are just they're not important. They're just what takes us to the important plot. So like if the buffalo payoff is good enough, I'm willing to hand wave it. I'm gonna level with you. The idea of the buffalo payoff is good enough. I do not think the buffalo payoff in this book is good enough.
Well, we'll see. We'll see when we get there, won't we?
Yeah, we will.
I don't know. It was fine. I just thought, oh, this is crazy. This is cool. It got morphing powers. Holy shit.
It is fucking crazy. I'll give you that. Like at this point in the book, if I were reading it for the first time, I'm like, holy shit, this is shaping up to be great. It's a
I'm
buffalo. It's got
also,
morphing powers.
I'm also coming at these books now at this point in the series, and I'm just looking for anything that's not just Visser 3's at it again.
Hmm.
And there's something for me to sink my teeth into here, and I'm interested in it.
Hmm.
I don't know. I like like I said, I like the extended chase sequence thing. For me, that's fun. And
Hmm.
it's also at this point in the book too. And for most of the book, maybe it changes a little bit, but most of this book is very Cassie centric. We're with her alone for a good portion of it, or maybe with her and like one other person,
Hmm.
which is different. Most of the recent books have been very group heavy, I feel.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of Cassies are fairly alone, though. Like Cassie gets the alone books and other people get the group books, you know?
Yeah, well, I like it. I mean, it, kind of
Hmm.
gave me shades of The Departure. Brought me back to that, like, Cassie on the run by herself dealing with an ethical dilemma. I'm not
Oh
saying it's as
boy.
good as that, but I'm just saying that's a tone and structure of book that I tend to enjoy.
All right. All right. Uh, I mean, so let's. One of the things they do start talking about here, which I think we should start talking about, is the implications of this buffalo. Like, first question about this buffalo. What the fuck does this buffalo think is happening to it? Like this
Has no
buffalo.
idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you were a human and you got morphing tech and you just started changing into an animal because you know, you might be able to sort of piece together a cause and effect. Oh, when I think about this animal, I turn into it. But you're not sitting there like, oh, that's interesting. I can turn my hand into a paw. You're like, what the fuck is happening to my body? Right.
Yeah, it's
This is
terrified.
yeah, this is even worse when what you've got is more like an instinctual emotional response like a buffalo is going to have and you don't have like that rational brain to kind of take that under control.
And then, but
Right.
then it gets one.
Yes.
And that part of it is definitely, it doesn't feel like they really dive into that because, or
Yeah.
at least I don't really know, because it's like, what the fuck would happen? I don't know. I don't know how
Yeah.
an animal reacts. Maybe
Yeah.
human instincts are just really weak. You know how when they turn into a dog,
Yeah.
they want to be a dog? Maybe that's only for humans, and the other way around, the animal instincts are so strong that they don't overtake the humans.
Yeah, I don't believe that at all. I think the human instincts are extremely strong and we just don't realize it because we're like, that's not instincts. That's just the way everything
Are
is.
you an animal? You don't know.
Yes, I am.
Not an animal. You're a manimal.
Manimal. No, I listen, I agree with you. And like you, it's true. You wouldn't know. But I do think that is the part of this book that's most interesting to me. And I think it's the most underexplored. And it means the book just kind of loses me entirely. But
Hmm.
we'll get there. We'll get there.
It's
Um,
underexplored in a way. Like, I kind of agree that I'm like, is this, I don't know that this is how it would go. I think, the difference is, the problem is, and maybe this is what you would have preferred, is it's the buffalo things happening while they have to be on the run.
mhm,
And this would be a very different book if it was just like, we're keeping the buffalo in the barn and like
yeah.
just dealing with the
Yeah.
buffalo for a
But
book.
what that effectively ends up meaning, again, we're getting ahead of ourselves. What that effectively ends up meaning is that the whole book, what you get is like a page of maybe we should think about what this buffalo means. Oh wait, the Yerks are here. We got to have a big action sequence. Action sequence. Action sequence. Should we slow down and think about what we're trying to do? Nope. We got to have another action sequence. And the action sequences are the most boring parts of the Animorphs books. I've seen them before.
Yeah. I mean,
Whatever.
generally, I agree with that.
Whatever. It is also worth thinking about because they do think about it here. What is the the implications for them as a group, right? Because Tobias is saying we got to get the fuck out of here because it's going to give us away, and Cassie's like, I feel like I have a responsibility to it, but like if you're thinking about it in a long term at this point, you are thinking like, yeah, what are you going to do about this thing because it is going to give you away. Like, even if you get rid of their ability to detect morphs, this thing is a liability. It's a problem. You have
Yeah.
to deal with it somehow.
It's a problem.
Uh, yeah.
Here's my
Like,
idea of what they should
yeah.
do, though, which
Mm-hmm.
maybe adds to that problem.
Mm-hmm.
But this was my idea.
Yeah.
You just go around, just like everywhere within like a mile radius or something, however far you can get. Just find a bunch of birds, a bunch of worms, some squirrels. Just give them all morphing powers.
Mm-hmm.
And then just touch every animal you see with the cube, some stray cats. Just go nuts with it. And then the Yerks will be like, there's fucking morphing powers everywhere. And they'll be distracted and confused and they'll give up.
See, if this was like a Marco book or maybe even a Tobias book or something, because he's more of an animal, they totally would have done that. Cassie would never do that because it's unethical for the animals. But that honestly would have made for a far more interesting book for me if the way they dealt with the Yerks detecting them and chasing them was just like they gave every fucking animal in the forest morphing powers and they're all going batshit.
Then you're just dealing with fucking half human, half animal hybrids running around the city for a while. It's like, yeah, that's
Yeah.
whatever. It just happens here. Who cares?
Yeah, no, it's like, oh, wouldn't that make the news? Well, you know what just made the news was animal attacks everywhere in 9/11, so whatever. We're fucking used to it.
It's Tuesday. What are you going to do?
Right.
This is my
Um,
plan.
all right. So I guess let's talk about the meat of this book. So I'll just brace people here.
Meat.
I put a huge chunk of this book into one section because I was like, I have very little to say, and what little I do say is kind of like referenced continuously throughout and never really expanded upon. Like it's not like different in later sections than earlier sections. Uh so I don't know if you're gonna have trouble keeping the place that we're at as we talk, but
But it's my problem, not yours.
it's listen, I asked. I was all like, is this too much? And you were like, seems like too much. And but then you weren't like, no, definitely break it up. So I was like, fuck it.
What am I
All
going to
right.
do? I can't tell you what to do. You'll do whatever the fuck you want. I don't control
If
you.
you were all like, no, I need more breaks because I have a lot to say about this part in particular.
I'm
I try to
trusting
split
you.
it off.
I'm depending on you to have a clear head and to organize these things in a good way.
I mean, this is a great way to organize it based on what I have to say about it. I just
Well, we're
don't
going to
know what
find
you
out.
have to say.
We're going to
Okay.
find out. I don't know. Maybe it's good. I don't
Okay.
know.
All right. So let
Go ahead.
me start this summary here. All right. Um. So yeah, Cassie spends some time running around trying to shake the helicopter before it suddenly leaves. The other Animorphs all show up, and we find out that Eric has made a morph energy emitter simulator device thing to lure them away. So part of the way that they get their freedom here is they're not doing the jump around thing. Eric made a thing for them. Okay. The Animorphs all discuss the Buffy human. They come up with a plan to get rid of the Yerks, although they play kind of coy about what it is for the reader. Some taxon trackers show up to, and with Hork-Bajir, so there's a big fight, and they are losing the fight when the Buffy human shows up and turns the tide, and together with the Buffy human, they fight off the Taxons. There's like a couple sentences because like the Buffy human morphs Chapman, so there's a couple sentences where Cassie tries to like get it to talk, and they're like, "What are we doing about this?" Before helicopters show up, they have to run again. There's another fight. They run some more. There's like a part where they have to cross a road. It takes a whole chapter. The Buffy human keeps following, like they keep trying to get away, and the Buffy human keeps showing up. There's another fight, but this time Visser 3 is here. And the Buffy human accidentally acquires and morphs him, so it's a Buffa Andalite. Visser 3 morphs into like this ooey gooey black acid tentacle thing with buzzsaw teeth, and Cassie and the Buffa human have to jump off a cliff to escape it, and they all meet back up with the other Animorphs. Now, what I have described here, the events I have described, they take place over the course of pages 41 through 97 of this 121 page book. So what I just said is 46% of the book.
So this is a I wasn't sure when reading if I was imagining it, but this is definitely a shorter book than most of them are.
Yes, they are getting shorter over time, and I think this one is short even for its time frame.
Yeah, we've looked it up because at some point you were like, oh yeah, eventually they all get to 120 pages. And I think I discovered that's not exactly true. They do mostly stay like in the 140 to 150 page range, I think.
Yeah.
But this is, 120. Because as I was reading it, I was like, this is going fast. And it is. It does.
Actually, I'm looking. So I have a graph by word count here that I found before.
Oh, interesting.
This is the second shortest book ever and the shortest one we have had so far.
Okay, yeah.
On the graph. But yes, like if you look at the up until the exposed book 27, no books were under 20,000 words. And this one is getting close to 15,000. It's very low word count wise.
Oh. So here's where I will kind of maybe see your side of things a little bit. Because I do agree that I don't know if I agree. I don't want to say that, but a lot of this book is there were fewer times while reading this that I went to write a note down than I feel like I usually do reading an Animorphs book. And I think it's because when that usually happens for me is, as you said, during the action scenes. Not even necessarily because I think the action scenes aren't well done. It's just that it's usually like there's not that much to say about them because it's just they're fighting or they're running or they're, it's like, that's cool, but it's not anything. It's not written in any kind of way that's that worth discussing, at least that we have seemed to find mostly on this podcast. Which I think also made it feel like, but to me, I also think on the other side, the flip side of that coin, the good side of that is that the book feels like it has momentum. It doesn't feel like there's any, I mean, you said there was padding in the beginning, but to me, it feels like the plot has them running, they're being chased, they're on the move, they can't stop. And the book is pretty short, and it felt like it kept on moving and kept me reading. And I didn't feel too many lulls in the action, for better or worse. If you don't like the action, then I guess that's a lull. But they don't take a lot of time out to talk at the barn or to go to school or the mall or whatever. It's lean. This feels like this is a 90-minute thriller.
Yeah, so I guess that is the problem, is that for me, like, the action scenes, I don't mind them, I like them, but they're like punctuation. They themselves don't feel like any moving. Like an action scene to me in an Animorphs book does not feel like it's moving at all. It feels like, okay, we've moved. Okay, action scene. Okay, cool. Now we can start moving again. And so when it's all action scenes, it's like it's like a series of commas. Like, this is what are we doing? When are we going to get, like, to me, I like those scenes where they're in the barn and they're talking. I like those scenes where they're at school. So it keeps, like, they keep slowing down, and I'm like, then they're like, "Oh, you want to talk about this Buffy-human?" And I'm like, "Yes, I do. I want to talk about the Buffy-human. Let's see it interact. Let's see it try to learn. What do you think the implications are for this thing? How does it work out in your mind, Laura Batyanyi Weiss?" And it's just like, well, I can't tell you about that. I can't talk about that. I can't explore that, because actually we said 3 sentences and it's time to go back to the action sequence. And I'm like, oh, this I don't like it.
I
It's
guess yeah, go ahead.
it's like that fucking that Lord of the Rings TikTok song where Tolkien's like, they walk, walk, walk,
Tom
walk.
Cardy.
Except I fucking like in Lord of the Rings when they do
I,
that.
I thought there was enough discussion of the Buff-a-Human for me to keep
Hmm.
me interested in the subject. And maybe it's because I haven't read this before, so I was just that concept alone was enough to get my imagination going that I didn't need
Hmm.
it to be discussed so in depth. I was like, I'm curious about this. That is
Hmm.
weird and interesting. I'm thinking about it on my own, even if the book's not necessarily prompting me directly to do so. I think it's a really good moral dilemma for Cassie because
Hmm.
she's inadvertently created this thing.
Yeah. That
And
is
that's
a good
a
moral dilemma. You know the best things about moral dilemmas? It's when the dilemma gets solved and you get to decide how you feel about it. And boy, wouldn't it be nice if Cassie had to solve her moral dilemma this book. We'll talk about that too.
I mean, I can't tell what part of what you said is sarcastic. Is that the best part of a dilemma is when you solve it?
Well, no, what if the because, like, okay, I shouldn't say solve it, but when you conclude it, right? Like, if you just say, "Oh, here's a moral dilemma," it's like, okay, that's a fun thought experiment. Sucks as a story. If you say, "Here's a dilemma," the characters have to conclude it. They somehow conclude the dilemma, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you know whether it's good or bad what they did, but they came to a conclusion and you now have to feel some way about it, is what makes it like a story as opposed to just some bullshit you did.
Well, we will talk about this later. This
Yeah.
is not. I feel like
Yeah,
they
no, it's not
concluded it
relevant right now, but
personally, but you kind of sound like Rachel a little bit right now, you know?
do I?
Yeah, well, she gets angry when you ask her ambiguous questions. She doesn't like it. She gets mad.
No, I like that the question is ambiguous. I just think that, like, if you just ask the question, then you're sitting there stoned at 3 a.m. If you ask the question, provide an answer, and then debate whether the answer is good or not, or is satisfactory or not, now you've got something substantial.
Well, listen, I did read this book on 420, so
Yeah.
I'm not going to say I wasn't blazing it. I'm not going to say I wasn't getting high off that dank ass, skunk ass weed, brother.
I mean, okay, let's look at it from this perspective. At the very beginning of this section here, they're asking questions like, can the buffalo actually think? Is it mimicking human behavior, or is it actually, like, somehow inhabiting that behavior consciously? What are we going to do about this buffalo? We kind of have to kill it, but is it
Mm-hmm.
ethical to? At
Yeah.
the end of this section, 50 pages later, they say the same thing. There's no progression in that across it. They just keep coming back to it and reminding you that this is an idea.
Yeah.
There's no
Yeah.
development or exploration.
Yeah, I was okay with it.
All right. I just kept being like, yes, please do something this time. All
Well, I
right.
feel like Cassie is the one who's more on the fence, and I feel like everyone else is pretty much like, yes, we do need to kill it.
Yeah, so wouldn't it be nice if Cassie, like, had to develop her opinion, as opposed to saying in the beginning, "I'm on the fence," and then at the end she says, "I'm on the fence"?
Yeah, well, she's
What
getting
if she
there.
thought about it? What if she
We're
almost
working
got off
through
one
it.
way? Oh, but no, I got to get off the other way. No, it doesn't really happen because they're too busy running.
Yeah, exactly. She doesn't have time. She's running.
I don't like it.
Listen, I agree with you in the sense that I overall could have done with a little less chase scenes and a little more philosophical musing. I agree. I want more of that.
Mm-hmm.
But the balance wasn't so off for me that I was like annoyed by it. Like, I was like, that's just what it is. So I just kind of accepted it. But I do agree. I also wish they'd spent more time discussing it.
Yeah, I mean, the other issue here is that quote unquote philosophical musing that is also fundamentally tied to wacky body horror shenanigans.
Oh yeah. I
Like,
mean, you
like the
call them
parts of this,
wacky. I call
yeah,
them
the parts
fucked
of this
up.
book that are fun is when he's doing like I'm not used to having a mouth with which to scream, but now I have one and I must scream. And you're like, what the fuck is this Chapman doing? And he's like trying to walk and trying to imitate speech, but you don't know if he's imitating it or actually trying to understand. And you're like, part of this is very philosophically interesting. Part of this is also fucking horrific, right? And that's
Yeah.
fun. I like seeing that stuff. But you don't, they'd rather be like, and then we cut up some taxons and there was gore everywhere and I slipped on it. And then the Hork-Bajir's arm got cut off. And it's like, yeah, that's old news.
See, I guess that's definitely a difference because you're saying for you that's like old hat. I thought this was for me one of the more disturbing, upsettingly violent books in recent memory. I mean, some of the I highlighted some of these phrases. Tobias rakes a talon across the Hork-Bajir's eye. I know that's happened a million times, but it screamed. Everyone was screaming. A Taxon, or no, this is Marco. It says of Marco, his scalp was split and one of his ears was missing. The blades sank. Their blades sank deep into my hide, slicing me open, nicking my bones, and making me scream in pain, making me charge in fury, making me fight to the death. I mean, look, I know that we've had these kinds of fights
last
before.
Last book, Aloth got split shoulder to Hawk.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's never been violent, but I don't know. Yeah. Cassie bites into a thing. It says, of Taxon, I bit it again, sinking my muzzle into its guts and ripping them out of its body. I found it to be disgusting.
It is pretty disgusting, but like continue to say those sentences for 50 pages, and at a certain point, the listeners are going to tune out and be like, "Oh, he's still going, huh?"
I guess I'm just never, maybe for you, you've just accepted Animorphs as a thing for adults or something. Like it still shocks me a little bit. I'm never quite ready for it.
Yeah. Listen, the sheer volume in this book is quite high, but it's not a volume of anything I haven't seen many times before. And to be fair, I don't think that Animorphs is for adults. It's just that this is what I read when I was a kid, so like to me this is for kids. It's like yeah, sure.
Christ. So it's the opposite. You're
it's
fucked up in a different way.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm here to set the record straight and say the shit that happens in this book is fucked up, and that's beyond even the buffalo itself is some annihilation type shit where it's some fucking we get more into that in a little bit maybe, but
yeah,
the buffa human is fucked up.
Yes, the buffa human is fucked up. I mean, honestly, the only gore parts here that really stood out as like notable to me was after they jumped off the cliff and they're taking like stock of their injuries, Cassie and the buffalo, because those are not, getting your scalp cut open and ear sliced off is a normal injury in Animorphs. But like in off the cliff, Cassie's sitting there. I think she like fucking lands on a tree and is like impaled in her human body on the tree. And it's like, oh geez, that's not an image I'm used to from this series.
Yeah,
it's fucked. That part is fucked.
There's some fucked up shit. The part for me about this book that I'm not crazy about and I don't think makes much sense is their plan for how they're going to stop the helicopter. Which is, by the way,
here's a fucking question. Did you guess what the plan was when they were like, ooh, what could it be? I'm not going to tell you, but it involves getting them to the ocean and dropping an anvil on them, but we're not going to tell you what it is.
Yes, I immediately figured out exactly what it was. I don't even remember them saying the ocean.
Was like,
Okay, they're gonna drop an anvil on the helicopter. It's a humpback whale, right? It's a humpback
Yeah.
whale. Is that what it is? A
Yeah.
humpback whale? And
Yeah,
yeah,
the
that's what it
thing they
was.
did to the Valik last time this happened, and
I
also the
didn't even.
thing that they did to the Helmacrons last time we had Helmacrons, and also the thing that we did in book 34.
I didn't even remember specifically when they did it.
I'm
So
sure I think I'm probably missing one, honestly.
but this does go back to the same thing as last book, where but it's even more. I feel like unnecessary here.
Mhm.
Of we're gonna do a plan, but we're not gonna tell the reader what it is. And at this point, it feels very cheap and just very not even interesting. It's like why did you have to disguise that? It doesn't
Mhm.
change it doesn't make it's not an interesting reveal. They wouldn't have had the conversation that way. Like, why are they speaking in code? Who does that benefit?
Mhm.
It doesn't make sense. It's silly. So yeah, I mean that I feel like we're on a trajectory next book where Jake's going to be like, okay, guys, we're going to do the secret plan zoo for our big fight, and it's going to turn out plan zoo is they all morph into animals. Oh, you didn't see that coming, did you? Animals was the plan. Those animal morphs. It's like, okay, it's
Yeah.
just lay the book out. I don't. Why do you don't need to be tricking me? I'm not. I'm not here
Yeah.
for a who done it. Just
Yeah, listen, it certainly doesn't help when you're redoing the Valik plot to be like, the way we're going to beat it is the same way we beat the Valik. And instead of being like, yeah, that makes sense. Oh, turns out halfway through the book that failed, though, so now we have to find a new way. Like, a lot of stories might be like, that's what you try. Obviously, what worked before, but it didn't work this time. Instead, that's like, yeah, that's the plan for the end of the book that they're going to do at the end of the book. What a payoff.
yeah, yeah. It's weird, and also I guess we're getting ahead of ourselves, but
Yeah.
there's not a better. That's like they say. Oh, we can't just get onto the helicopter because there's armed guards on there. Oh,
Hmm.
okay, you mean the kind you fight literally all the time? Like,
Yeah.
you're really telling me Marco couldn't go on there just as a gorilla or like fly, even as just get Tobias to like fly through there, fuck up the pilot, and then fly out? I feel like it would crash easily.
Yeah.
There's no, it's not that hard to make a helicopter crash. Drop a rock on it. Why does it have to be a whale? Throw anything at the top of it, it will crash.
Yeah. I mean, some of those, it would be kind of hard to get a gorilla on board.
Okay, yeah, gorilla, yes. Gorilla, I pivoted to hawk.
Yeah. And also, a rock on top might be hard too, because you have to fly it up there as a bird. It can't carry. But you're right. Like, Tobias could just, like, fly through
A
and
pack of
rake
birds.
their
All of
eyes.
them come
Yeah.
up with rocks and they just drop them, and one of them hits the windshield or something.
Yeah. Like, that. Tobias comes through and rakes their eyes. Then Marco does. Then Cassie does. Then Jake does. You know what I mean? And you know, this could work. Yeah. No.
Yeah, it's like you don't have to think that hard. You
Yeah.
really,
It it does make sense though to be all like, we have done this so many times and it's worked every time. That's our go-to. Cassie, do the fucking whale thing. Like, I get that. But
yeah, I guess. I mean, in some ways, I sort of like that because it's like the. I mean, they reference Wile E. Coyote in this book, and that was always my thing as a kid. Is Wile E. Coyote tries the thing and then Roadrunner fucks it up.
mm,
And then we've talked about this on the show. We've talked about this in regards to the Yerks, that like they never retry a plan after it's
yeah.
been thwarted. It's like, if you just tweak one thing, maybe it would work. But so the Animorphs are like, yeah, this worked. This is our signature move. Let's stick with
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Sure, that's fine. It's still stupid, but
Yeah.
whatever.
I mean, the Yerks are just trying the same thing. It's too bad that it's like so much the same thing and not like very particular. I mean, this time I guess they're looking themselves instead of a monster, so it might be harder to confuse. Except it doesn't really seem like that. They're still getting plenty confused.
They're easily confused.
Yeah.
This is when they talk about breaking down the cube.
Mm.
And this
Yeah,
is when I
somewhere here.
really thought, like, just at this point, it's too dangerous to exist. This thing should be
Mhm.
destroyed. Is my opinion, and no one even broaches that subject, which I think is
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah. That's reasonable. I mean, this is also at the beginning part here, you know, they're distracting it with Eric's morphing energy box, which does mean that the chi. What's weird is it doesn't say like Eric is just projecting morphing energy because he can just do that. Eric like whipped up a device that projects morphing energy. Can Eric just make Escafil devices whenever he wants, like MacGyver? Be like, give me 15 minutes, I'll go make a Escafil. Because if
Who
that's the
knows?
case, they really don't need this thing.
Who knows what he can do? By the way, I was picturing the thing from Dune that generates vibrations in the sand and attracts the sandworms.
Yeah,
That's
I think, isn't that a thumper or something?
yeah, yeah, sure. I think this is a thumper.
Yeah, yeah.
Did we
Again, here, let's go back to it. Here's another reason to get mad they don't use the chi to solve this problem by just giving him the box. They do use the chi to solve this problem, just not by giving him the box.
You know,
Anyway.
look, they're kids. They're dumb. They're 14. They're dumb.
It is
They don't
true.
know. They probably haven't had a good night's sleep in years. They're
Mhm.
worrying about their fucking algebra test. Their brains are small. They're not thinking like we are. Smart adults.
Smart adults. Listen.
Did we get to the part where he turns into Visser 3?
Yeah, I passed that part too.
Did you even say it?
I did, yeah.
Oh, okay. I just don't pay attention. Yeah, the buffa human turns into Visser 3. I thought that was
They
cool.
call him a buffa andale. Like, I don't know. To
Buffaloid.
me, okay, there is the part here. I got a quote. Prince Jake, the buffalo is morphing, Axe said urgently. It acquired the viscer. Oh man, this is too good, Marco crowed. To me, this just kind of sums up. It's like, when did he do that? I don't know. How come nobody notices him
No,
morphing
they said
except
it.
for Axe? No, but no, they're all looking at the Animorphs right now.
They said he charges into him and then he gets all hypnotized
Sure.
when he acquires him. It happens.
It's just so like, oh, just got to make this thing happen. It's kind of dumb. Also, I should point out here, Visser 3 fucking sucks. Visser 3 loses a
Tell me something I
tailblade
don't
fight
know.
to the Buffa Andalite. The Buffa
Well, he gets
Andalite, who has
the
never
Andalite
been
instinct.
in an Andalite body before.
He gets the Alaran's Andalite instinct straight away. So he's like an expert
yeah, but he doesn't have the
fighter.
fucking training.
It's ingrained in Alaran's body. He's just he's a born soldier.
I just think Visser 3 fucking sucks at tailblade fighting.
He's a buffalo
Listen.
soldier. Look, it's like I told you. Buffalo Aerith.
There is a excuse me. There is
yeah, go ahead.
a history
Get it out.
of Visser 3 like being a coward and running away in tailblade fights. Like, we have already seen, like, you know, Axe and Visser 3 square up and Visser 3 being like, out of here, bitch, rather than fight him. I think he just sucks. I think Visser 3 just can't. He's just like, I don't fucking know how to do it. Alaran knew how to do it. I don't know how to. I could probably figure it out, but I don't know. Those Andalites are scary.
He has become too dependent on his morphs.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, at first I thought this was the same. I thought he was doing the hot morph again, the big hot blob.
Yeah.
But this was just
they
a smelly blob.
Yeah, it's got acid or something.
Yeah, I wish we knew what moon it was from.
Yeah, that's true. That would make it better. I would like this book better if they told me what moon Visser 3's thing was.
Again, I know this won't phase you, but one of the buffaloes as an Andalite eye stalks does get chopped off.
Yeah.
It's gross.
Well, remember in that fanfic when Axe committed the ritual of suicide? He did that too, so that's not the first time I've seen.
Of course, yeah. Which I think was published in one of the 34, I think.
Yes, yeah.
The original
it is
book, they
canon.
included that fanfic.
It's canon. Yeah. I mean, this is where all of the like discussion about what the buffalo is happens. So I guess we should like talk about like what is the nature of this buffa human, right? Like, what do you think about this as far as its instincts? What can it do? What can't it do? What's the experience like? What, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's interesting
Like,
because
let's us explore it.
yeah, at first I was definitely just like, it's just a buffalo, 100%. You need to kill it. Like I didn't
Mhm.
feel, I was
Mhm.
not on Cassie's side. Not that, but it wasn't. I didn't like begrudge her for feeling I got it, but I was like, it's a fucking. It's not. It doesn't like become a human just because it morphed into one. Now,
Right.
it's still an animal.
Yeah. Yeah, Cassie's just a fucking pussy. It's not that complicated.
And I did also, I did flash back to when they were all like, let's push Marco's mom off a cliff. I'm like, Cassie didn't. It feels like you're sticking up for this buffalo more than you did for Marco's mom.
Yeah, right.
But,
Axe has a line. He says, "I have acquired human DNA. Does this make me a human?"
Yeah, which is
a point.
It's also such an obvious point that I'm like, did that
Yeah.
even need to be made? What a weird, strange train of thought they went on here.
Yeah.
But listen, but I'm going to tell you, as the book went on and the buffalo starts being all like, good, buffalo want to be good. It doesn't say that much, but Cassie like keeps telling it it's good, and it starts like kind of learning what it means to be good.
Yeah. It's not clear that it's actually learning that. Like, that is the fundamental question is it repeating the words bad and good just because it's hearing them as babble, or does it somehow understand that those words are representative of Cassie's tone? Like, Cassie has a tone where she likes it, and she's saying good, and it like that, and that's a question. And
Sure.
that is an unanswered question.
Yeah, and I guess it's up for interpretation. But it got me in the same way that, made me think of like E.T. or I was thinking of Everybody Knows Bat Boy the Musical.
Right, everybody knows that, yeah.
I was thinking of, How to Train Your Dragon. All those classic stories of you found a weird creature that everybody hates, but it's kind of like, it's like scary and gross, but also maybe one person kind of loves it. And I was like, by the end of the book, I felt bad for the Buffahuman. I liked it.
You are supposed to feel bad for it. I do like it too. It's a nice animal. It's very clear that this animal is like fucked. One thing that I was remembering here, because okay, so this Buffahuman, it's a pack animal, and it wants to be part of a herd. And it very clearly is like following Cassie around and mimicking her because it wants to be part of some kind. Like it might not understand things the way we do, but it definitely understands the idea of like a social, familial dynamic. And this buffalo is so fucked up and weird and in a situation it can't possibly understand. It's probably extremely emotionally reliant on a herd that can do something. So seeing Cassie morph would absolutely connect this buffalo. That all makes perfect sense to me. And it reminds me of kind of the bit in Hork-Bajir Chronicles where Dak's like, why are my people following me? Is it because I'm their seer? No, it's because I've destroyed their past and now they have no choice but to follow me into a future they can't imagine. So I did get that kind of a feeling from this, right? Like, because of our actions, we've destroyed the normal life this buffalo could have had, and it like has to be in our group now. There's no other choice for it. It's an interesting idea. Again, I wish we spent more time with it so that I could see it, but I liked it.
Yeah, it was enough. They did enough for me to actually feel feelings, which Animorphs books don't always do. So I was like, oh, I didn't even expect to, even up until that point. I didn't really care about this Buffahuman kind of until the end, and I was like, oh, I guess I do like the Buffahuman. Because I like it.
Yeah. So
tell you what I don't like.
Yeah, tell me what you don't like.
The fucking thing coming up.
Oh, well, actually, I do have one more thing to say about the nature of this Buffahuman, because I think it's a huge missed opportunity. Okay.
We never get out of this section. You have so many notes for this section. You should have split it up.
Uh-huh.
Listen.
Ahead. All right. So here's the thing about this Buffy. The problem is that the notes about this Buffahuman are the same from I would have just talked about all of this in like the first 2 chapters of this section and then had nothing else to say for the rest of it.
Buffahuman the Vampire Slayer.
So here's the thing about the Buffahuman.
Isn't there a Pokemon Clebuffa or something?
Yeah, that's one.
Yeah, so that's fun. Clebuffahuman.
Yeah, Clebuffahuman.
Okay, go ahead.
You mean Bouffalante.
No, go ahead.
No, okay. So fundamentally, we have this question, and we've kind of talked around it, but because the book doesn't explore it, we haven't really explored it, which is that you got a human brain being used by a buffalo, right? In the same way that a human doesn't know how to fly, but it can use a bird's brain as a tool to know how to fly. The human brain can think and reason. So, can a buffalo use its human brain to think and reason the way a human would and gain that kind of intelligence? Right. So, so, like, if this buffalo were trapped as a human nothlet, would it just eventually learn to be a human using that human brain? If it can, then that means that that human brain in the morphed body has some sense of ability to like reason and think and have a consciousness, like, as separate from the thing controlling it, the buffalo controlling it. And if that's true, then all of Cassie's stupid moralizing about, like, is it acceptable to morph other intelligent species is a very good point. Because you are creating this brain which is capable of thinking, it must be, and then you are controlling it. And what a great reason to make this in particular a Cassie book. I'm not saying you have to
Yeah.
come to that conclusion, but like nobody even thought to consider that possibility. Cassie didn't think to consider that.
Well, she hasn't
The
really talked about that in like 15 books, so
Yeah, right.
I
I
don't
mean,
remember.
literally, what it comes down to is that we didn't do anything with this question of can the buffa human think and learn. We just asked it, and so at no point can Cassie think about that. She can't tie that into her earlier moralizing and questioning. We can't have that discussion. We
Yeah,
could if we spent time on it.
yeah. I mean, that's like it's I think it is there, but they certainly don't spend much time on it.
I don't think they ever bring up the question of is it wrong to morph an intelligent animal in this book.
Well,
Like, they
no,
just bring up
no,
the
I
question,
guess
is it
not.
wrong to
Yeah,
kill the buffalo since it can morph into a human?
I guess but it's related sort of to the question of can an animal if an animal turns into a human, does it become something more sacred? Like, is it like the same way you
Mhm.
wouldn't want to kill a human? Is it more important than an animal? Which I guess for Cassie, that's like she probably doesn't even see that distinction because she's a bleeding heart liberal. But
Yeah. Well, look, this is what I mean by it's not explored. Like, it's related to that question, sure. The book does not explore it, so the book never finds it. I have to read it and think, oh yeah, here's a related question you could ask. The book doesn't get there. It seems anyway. Whatever.
it's fine. I would I mean I like I said before, I agree. I would have liked to see more of that kind of thing for sure.
Yeah. I don't know. To me, it's a huge missed opportunity. Anyway, we can talk about the thing that happens next that you don't like. This is my favorite part of the book. This is the part of the book that I'm like, oh yeah, now we're getting there.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, so the rest of the Animorphs go ahead to lure out the chopper. So Cassie is left behind on her own, and she starts demorphing to like prep for her dropping plan. And she sees a thing, and the
What
thing,
the thing?
it's kind of like the thing in a way. The thing that she sees is an ant, but it's growing, and the ant gets fucking huge and starts growing hair and turns into her. Because somehow this ant also got the morphing technology. Somehow this ant got crawled over the blue box and got the ability to morph and then crawled over Cassie. And so now not only do we have a buffa human, we have what the book refers to as an ant Cassie. And this ant is like totally incapable of understanding what's going on. It is fucked up beyond measure. It's got like skin turning into exoskeleton going back and forth, antenna going in and out. It's like screaming constantly with existential horrors beyond its comprehension. And real Cassie is like, "What the fuck?" and freaks out. And Aunt Cassie attacks her. And again, it should be noted that while it's attacking her, it's like grabbing and hitting her with like limbs that are shifting between human arms and like ant pincers. Um, So the Buffa human shows up and sees that Cassie is getting attacked, and it gores Aunt Cassie and kills Aunt Cassie, and Aunt Cassie actually stomps on it as it like tries to demorph or something. Um. Anyway, Cassie turns into an osprey and
Osprey.
to leave because she's got to get out of there, and the Yerks in a helicopter blow up the buffalo with the Dracon beam. All right.
What
would you like to say
right at the end?
May I quote? To quote, and then the Dracon beam blew up the buffalo. That is the last sentence of one of the chapters, and that's it.
All right. Well,
that's what it says.
Let's talk about Aunt Cassie. All right.
Yeah, let's talk about Aunt Cassie.
Wait till you hear about Uncle Cassie.
Oh boy, Rachel makes that joke in this book.
Yeah, we'll get to that too. Yeah, no, it's fucking a nightmare. It's horrible. It's terrifying.
Yeah,
it's been a while since we dwelled on the horror of ants. It feels like the first 15 books, they couldn't shut up about how horrible ants were. And I actually like forgot. I was like, oh, right. They really don't like ants. Even Cassie knows she just kills this thing. Even Cassie's like, nah, ants deserve to die. Fuck up. No, there's no moral question here. It's gotta die. Which is kind of funny. I mean, that's another thing that possibly could be explored that isn't. It's like, why are you maybe a bit hypocritical, but I get it. I'm with her.
I don't know that it is that. Yeah, this is kind of that in reverse, right? Like where we're like, it's a complete obliteration of the ego. For the ant, it's like, this is an ego where none has ever existed before. Like, to an ant, we are a Cthulian horror beyond its comprehension.
Yeah.
Right? Like a buffalo, let's be real here. A buffalo, it can't reason like a human can, but it can still, like, think things, it can still figure stuff out a little bit. It can't, like, speak like a human. It doesn't have linguistics, but it can communicate. Like, it can make snorting noises and has body language. They still have social structures. They have general mammalian feelings. An ant has, like, no overlap in how its brain works and ours. Like, it's not, the buffalo's turning into a far, far more complicated version of itself, and the ant is just, like, thrust into the eldritch plane.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fucked. It's very fucked. It's an interesting switcheroo on that premise. It's not really, I mean, you could remove this from the book and it wouldn't really like change anything. Like it doesn't really tie into the plot or anything else, but it's cool. Like I'm glad it's in there. I did immediately when they said the ant like was on the box and then on her leg, I was like, oh shit, that ant's gonna morph into Cassie. I did.
Strange how no ants have ever climbed into Cassie's water spout.
Well, she keeps it. It's like it's locked up in there. It's fucking. Plus, then they don't acquire anything after that, even if they did get in there.
Yeah, because ants never crawl over things.
No, they don't. They wouldn't know what to do. It's never happened.
This one did though. This one figured it out.
Well, it was just by accident because I was thinking about her.
I don't think it.
Yeah.
Listen,
I was thinking about her.
I'm going to read a passage here. Its pincers were jerked halfway back into its head, leaving the lethal tips spasming, and in between them, in some horrible, terrifying morphing disaster, the ant's face split vertically and lips formed, opened wide in a silent scream as gleaming white teeth erupted from the pink gums.
That's fucked up.
It's also fucked up.
It's also even more fucked up because it looks like Cassie.
Yes.
So she has to like murder herself. Like if these kids weren't fucked up enough already.
Yeah.
This is it. Like her mind should just be broken after this.
Yeah, she does describe the feeling of watching herself die after they buff a human gores her.
And like nobody else sees this. It's like it's just her.
This is just her on her own. Later on in the book, she has to come back and be like, "You guys, you're never going to believe what happened."
It's dark.
And they're just kind of like, "Haha, that's funny."
It's weird and dark.
Yeah.
Rachel really, I guess she says this later on, but
Yeah.
she makes that ant pun. Feels
Mm.
like she's being pretty flippant about Tobias's family trauma.
Rachel's pretty flippant about a lot of things.
Yeah, I don't think she's a great girlfriend, I gotta say. Tobias, you could do better. Get with Price Cut Polly, you know?
Yeah.
She'll treat you way better.
This ant also at a certain point goes, "Eee!"
Okay.
It reminded me of one of my other favorite weird, fucked up
Yeah.
fictional characters,
Yeah.
the
Everyone knows.
the Crimson King. Listen, all I'm saying is that this ant is definitely a servant of the red. All right, this is not a being of the white.
I think it's a black ant, though.
Right, but it's of the red. It serves the Crimson King.
Well,
You like that. You cannot tell me for 1 second that you don't like that.
I just don't want to get into spoilers on the podcast. You know what I mean? I feel like it's too spoilery.
Listen, E is not a fucking spoiler.
Well, I don't know. Someone might Google it, and then they might,
Oh yeah, they're gonna Google E.
Yeah, yeah. They're gonna Google Crimson King E, and I don't know. I just feel like I don't know.
Okay, don't do that then.
Yeah, don't do that. All right. Just keeping you in check. That's all.
All right. So
Sometimes
this
you get out of
buffalo
control.
blew up.
And then it's sad. It's sad. She tells the buffalo that it's good, and then it's like happy, and then it gets blown up. It's sad.
Yeah. It is a sad scene where she's like, "You are good," and then it gets blown up. I have a note here that says Iron Giant vibes if Iron Giant was bad and dumb.
Fuck you. It's good. It is. It's Iron Giant vibes, but it's good.
It's good, except that then the buffalo just gets blown up by a Dracon beam. Like, he doesn't get killed by the ant protecting Cassie. He just gets randomly blown up. And let's look at Cassie's moral dilemma. How do I deal with this buffalo? Can I allow it to live? You know, is it my responsibility to kill it? But what if I don't? Oh, it got blown up. Boom, goodbye. All right, that's all right. Buffalo blown up. Don't really have to worry about it anymore.
She could have saved it. She had to. She chose to leave and not lead it out with her.
No, she chose to leave because the helicopter was coming in to blow them up. What was she gonna do? Pick it up and run?
She could have guided it away.
She was sad because she had to leave it, or she was going to get blown up too. What she could have done is sit there and die with it. I get that as a Cassie choice.
She was gonna have to kill it anyway. Like this, she knew that the whole time. So this was still just.
Yeah, so wouldn't it be cool if she had to actually like come to terms with the fact that it was with that, as opposed to, well, just all right, nothing I can do about it. It's going to get blown up now.
I think there's more time than you're saying. I think she could have like warned it and pushed it away or something.
So you think that she purposely let it die when she could have saved it, as opposed to saying like, you know, I can either stay with it and die, or I can run and leave it behind, and I'm sad that I have to do that. You think she could have saved it?
I think the whole time she's been moving with it, and if she had just left it behind, like it would have just got shot or eaten or something.
They've been leaving it behind, and it's been catching up. She's now trying to move without it, but it doesn't get out of there in time. It gets blown up.
I just don't think.
I don't think that this is justified by the book. I think it's pretty much that.
I think she knows what she's doing.
Knows what she's doing in the sense that the buffalo is dying?
Yeah, I think she knows it's going to die.
Yeah, well, yeah, she knows it's going to die, but she's not making any decisions and has no input in it.
See, well, I disagree.
Hey, I don't think that that's justified by the text, but
I think you want her to just kill it. You wish she would do brain surgery on it.
Rachel can kill it. She doesn't have to be the one to kill it. She feels a responsibility toward it, so she feels like maybe it should have to be her. But like, you know what I mean? But like, she should have to come to terms with a like decision being made, as opposed to just, well, there's wanton yerks, they're blowing everything up, and I guess they got the buffalo.
The way that she says goodbye to it and says you are good and all this shit at the end, to me, it's her tone reads that she's saying goodbye, like she knows it's about to be killed.
Yes, she is saying goodbye. She knows it's about to be killed, and she's
Yeah,
sad, but she has
could
no
have
input in that decision, so there's no dilemma.
she could have
You've built
helped
up
it.
this dilemma, and you've thrown it away.
I think she could have tried to guide it to safety or something, and she doesn't.
I don't think I think she could have stayed there with it and sat around and tried to guide it, but she didn't have time to do that, and she knew it.
Well,
It
she
was either
chose.
leave or die.
Well, guess what?
Yeah, she chose to live. Sure.
Yeah, and we have seen before Cassie willing to sacrifice. I mean, she turned into a caterpillar forever in the, you know, in the pursuit of a moral goal of some kind. So like, I don't think it's beyond her to sacrifice herself in saving it. I think she chooses not to.
Yeah, but she wouldn't sacrifice herself to save it. She would sacrifice herself to die along with it. I get why she would feel guilty about that. But it's not the same thing.
I think
it's not a payoff to this dilemma.
As she would die, but I think Cassie's an optimist, and she would say, "There's hope, and maybe I can get it out." But she didn't try.
Well, interesting that she would say that, but doesn't in the book. You know, where we're supposed to be exploring this dilemma.
It's fine. It worked for me. It didn't work for you. I'm fine with it. I thought it was good.
I mean, I guess honestly, at that point, I'm just kind of like banging my head against the wall, like, please do something with this buffalo. And then I get the sentence, and then the Dracon beam blew up the buffalo. Oh, thanks, you did something with it. I'm real happy. Happy.
I like that too, because it's like, I like how abrupt it is. I think that makes it more sad, is that you have this whole like nice, sweet goodbye scene, and then it's just like, and 1 second it's there, 1 second it's gone. That's just it. They killed it. We're done. I think it's effective. That worked for me.
All right. Shall we get into the end of this book?
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's basically the end.
Yeah, so, you know, they're going to drop the whale on it.
We already talked about the whale, so that's why we did it. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, okay, yeah, she flies out. The Animorphs, they're all being shot by, they're dolphins, and they're being shot up, because they're the bait, and they're getting really fucked up. There's, like, blood everywhere, and they're dying. Cassie does the thing where she turns into a whale to fall in the helicopter, but she's too late, and she's not going to make it in time, and she's going to fail and miss the helicopter and not be big enough. But luckily, a seagull gets sucked into the helicopter's jet engine, and the helicopter explodes, and so they're saved. And that's the end of the book.
Yeah, it's funny.
So, I mean, okay, let's thematically look at this thing where Cassie's got this moral dilemma, but then it just kind of gets blown up and it's out of her control. And then Cassie tries to do this thing to the helicopter and it's not going to work, but then it just gets blown up and it's out of her control. Like, what am I supposed to take away from this book? Is the thematically, am I supposed to take away, sometimes the things just blow up and it's totally out of your control and you can, like, I guess it's the best laid plans, you know? A good thing it worked out. Like, I guess that could be a reasonably nihilistic thing, but that's not the tone, and it's not really what they're going for throughout. It's just like chaos. It's just like I threw some shit in there. It's bad. I don't like it. Justify this one to me. Tell me how Cassie, unfortunately knew that the poor seagull was going to sacrifice itself for her, and she could have stopped it. Tell me about that.
No, that's obviously not in the text. Unlike the other thing. I already said that I think this plan is stupid. So I'm already like, I agree. The helicopter thing that they're doing, I think there's better ways they could have done it in the first place. It doesn't make me angry, to be honest. I kind of like the whole, we tried we had all this stuff built up, and in the end it was just like random chaos, and sometimes that's just how it goes. I don't know. I was like, that's some crazy shit. Whatever. I guess I didn't really care. I was already like, the buffalo plot ended. That's the part I liked. The helicopter was whatever. I just didn't really care how they ended it.
I mean, that probably would have bothered me less if I weren't already like, okay, so the buffalo thing is just stupid. They didn't give me what I want and they just blew them up. All right, well, what about this plant thing? Oh, they just blew it up. Fuck it. We just did it again. And like, that would feel better to me if it was like they actually did all this shit. If I felt like, they did all this shit, and it failed, and here, but randomly they got saved. maybe that would hit harder. But here it's like, what did they do? They were like, let's do the same thing we always did, and then they run for 100 pages, and then they tried the same thing they always do, and it didn't work, but it blew up anyway, so it's fine. You know what I mean? Like they didn't do anything. Nothing new, nothing interesting. They spent a fucking 100 pages going over there so they could do something I don't care about. And it blew up.
Yeah, it's crazy how that kind of thing happens sometimes, you know? Look, sometimes stories don't always have a neat little message and ending. Sometimes life is just crazy like that.
Sure. And if that was the point of this story, that would be something.
Well, maybe that's just something else you can take away, you know?
Here's the thing about stories
just
is
how
that
it
you need
is.
a fucking reason to tell them. Life happens whether you have a reason or not, but
you don't need a reason. It's just the shit just listen, they're not writing these stories for you. They're cataloging their journey as Animorphs so that the Yeerks, so there's a record of it. This is just what happens.
When a fucking 70-year-old is like, let me tell you a story about what happened the other day, and you're like, okay, and they present you with like a clear beginning and then a middle, and then you're in the middle, and then you're in the middle, and then they just stop, and you're like, was there a point to that? And they're like, oh no, those were just some things that happened to me the other day. You get fucking, you're like, why are old people like this? Why don't you understand what a fucking story is? I get similar feelings from this.
I'm very confused by this example. How often are you talking to 70-year-olds and listening to their stories?
I worked retail for a while. I had to listen to 70-year-olds talk.
Okay, this is not something I can relate to at all.
I mean, my parents are also starting to do this. My mom in particular.
I mean, I don't
She's
know.
not 70s yet, but
my dad is 75 or 76, so
he doesn't do this. That's
no. I mean, he barely talks to me at all. Anyway, what was I gonna? I got so sidetracked. Oh yeah, I also the part of this that made me, a little mad. I already said before, so that's also the thing. It's like I also had a rant here, but it was about the whale plan that I already said. So I wasn't like the seagull was just like whatever because that was just another thing that I wasn't. I was more concerned with the like reveal of the anvil, because this is when that happens.
Yeah. Which I also, listen, I got plenty of rants about this book.
Yeah, I heard them. I think I heard them all. Yeah, I don't know. Rachel makes her flippant remark.
Yeah.
She says, boy, I thought Tobias's family was bad.
I gotta say, I don't really, it feels like it's really trying to go to a like, well, we finished up our action sequence. We got to tell some jokes. And it feels like there's a lot more misses than hits in this section.
Maybe there are some decent. I thought some Marco banter and some Axe banter in the book. It's there's a few of those.
There's a couple Marcos, yeah. Oh, they also never deal with the bug fighter that's actually shooting at them. Like there's the helicopter spotting for a bug fighter that's shooting, and they blow up the helicopter. But I guess they just get away from the bug fighter now that it can't see them. Never mind that it's looking at him and shooting at him.
Yeah, they just have one. They have the one Helmacron tech, and then that's fine. They can just fly away.
Yeah, they're not. Whatever.
Unfortunately, they didn't replicate the tech or in any way. They only had the one.
Yeah, I didn't know enough about how helicopters worked. I actually looked up because I was like, it got sucked into the jet engine of a helicopter. Do helicopters have jet intake engines? Turns out, at least some of them do. So I was like, okay, sure.
Yeah,
I don't know shit about shit.
That doesn't. I wouldn't even question. I don't even know what the fuck that even means. I'm a big dumb idiot.
Sure.
So clearly it sounds like you pretty much hated this book.
I hate this book.
Is this true from when you were a kid as well?
From when I was a kid, my thoughts on this book are similar to my thoughts on the Helmacron book from when I'm a kid, which are, oh yeah, it's got a Buffa-human. I like the idea of a Buffa-human, and I don't remember anything else that happens. And except I still like the Helmacrons because they're dumb and silly. And I don't like the Buffa-human as much because it doesn't have to be. There's a lot more. Like, what else are you going to do with the Helmacrons? You're going to be stupid and silly with them. But with the Buffa-human, it's like, no, this is interesting, and you didn't do that. So now I feel let down by it. Like my memories of this book from a kid are I barely remember thinking about it at all.
You'd rather have a book that's complete shit than a book that should be better but isn't as good as you want.
Well, no. So I'd rather have a book that is complete shit, but it's like bonkers crazy stuff, than a book that should be better, but instead of being better, it's nothing. Like
I
I gotta
thought
tell
Buff
you,
a Human counted as bonkers crazy, personally. But
yeah, sure. The problem is like there is not in this book a Buff a Human chapter. There are like 5 chapters that talk about the Buff a Human for like a
it's
paragraph or two
interwoven.
apiece. When you put them all together, you get maybe 1 chapter of Buff a Human out of this whole book.
It's interwoven.
You get 1 chapter of Buff a Human, like the total content, when you put all the interwoven content together. You get 1 Buff a Human chapter,
I don't
one
know
Aunt
about
Cassie
this
chapter,
metric.
and the
I don't
rest of
think
it
this
is
is fair.
fucking nothing.
I don't think this
Right,
is fair.
it's on par with 35, where it's like you get 1 good Naomi chapter, or
You gotta
maybe
tell me
2
what
good
the
Naomi.
fuck
It's like the
35
total
is.
number of good content is about the same. The rest of it's boring, and I'm just hitting my head against the wall, waiting for it to end. You know, at least in 37, I got a whole bunch of chapters about 9/11.
Man, this is crazy. The level of vitriol I did not expect at all for this book.
I'm actually kind of surprised. I was expecting you to have similar feelings because I know normally you're just like fucking action scenes. It's so boring.
I guess I don't know. There are exceptions. Usually that happens when it's like the action scene is there's just like one of them.
Hmm.
I don't know. I'm remembering. I also liked. You compared this to being. You said it was kind of a retread of Megamorphs 1,
Mhm.
and I liked Megamorphs 1 more than you did.
Yeah.
I also liked the other one. I feel like was The Forgotten that I liked much more than you.
That's true. Yes.
And maybe they all kind of have a similar thing where it's. I just liked the ride of it. It was kind of just like
Mhm.
an adventure for me that I was on. And like I said, yes, most of it is action scenes. It's pretty short. I wish it was more substantive, but I thought it was readable. I thought it had momentum. I thought the concepts were good and creepy, even if they could have been explored more. I liked the concepts, and I didn't. Maybe part of that is because you already knew what they were and I didn't.
Mhm.
So maybe I'm doing the heavy lifting of filling in some of those gaps in my own imagination.
Yeah, it is
But I
fair.
kind
You are coming into it like a Buff a Human. What the fuck? I've never seen that before. Whereas I'm coming in like, okay, here's the Buff a Human book. Let's see what they have to say about it. Well, what they
right.
have to say is that there is one. You know, so now I'm like, well, fuck this.
Yeah, and I'm like, there's a Buffy human. There is
Yeah.
one. Wow, crazy. This
Yeah.
book's nuts. So I'm fine, and I kind of like a book that's just like I said, it's a tight 90-minute thriller. It's just it's an action chase. For me, for whatever reason, it was written in a way that I didn't find as monotonous as the action scenes sometimes can be. It wasn't just I fought a Hork-Bajir, it fell to the ground. I fought a Taxon, it fell to the ground. I don't know, the helicopter chasing him. I like that angle of it. I was vibing with it. It wasn't great. It's certainly not as good as The Conspiracy, but I do like this better than number 27, the Pemelite ship Drode book that she wrote.
That's fascinating because reading this, my thought was like, I can see why this was her last book. It feels like K.A. Applegate was just like, do the Philique thing again. And there's a Buff a Human. And she was like, okay, but what do I write? I guess I'll just continue to write fight and chase scenes in which nothing gets progressed because I have nothing else to say or do. And she got fed up and was like, fuck this, I'm never doing it again. But it sounds to me like you're like, no, she did a pretty good job. I don't know why she didn't come back.
Yeah, I'd love to see more from her. It also, it reminded me of also the Venba, like the angle of them having to like survive kind of on the run without support systems and stuff. I kind of like that. It's just a fun angle for me. It was like for me, this is like a solid. Look, not that we're season rankings are later, but for me, this is like a B. It's like a
wow.
It's like I liked it. There's things that could have been better, but it was entertaining.
This is a shock to me. I'm surprised.
Yeah, I never would have guessed that you would have hated this that much. So
Interesting. Yeah, because I was 100% convinced you were going to come in being like, I didn't like it. Like I wasn't sure if you would dislike it as much as I did, but yeah, interesting. Interesting.
I don't know. I
Um,
wonder where the fandom lies on this one.
yeah. I also wonder, because I feel like part of where the fandom lies on this one is they're going to be like, oh yeah, it's the Buff-a-Human book. Because I feel like if again if I had not reread it since I was a kid and you asked me how I felt about it, I'd be like, oh yeah, it's the Buff-a-Human book, the Buff-a-Human, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then you'd be like, what happens in that book? And I'd be like, I don't know, there's a Buff-a-Human. And they'd be like, was it a good book? And I'd be like, I don't know, it's got the Buff-a-Human. That's, sure, I remember that. It's only because I had to like sit here and take notes and like think about it that I got bored out of my head.
Um, what's the hidden? Is it them
They have
because
to
they're
hide
hiding?
themselves from the morph ray.
That's not a morph ray. Come on, it's a Helmacron.
Yeah, the Helmacron ship.
I'm looking at. I searched the subreddit for hidden. I wanted to see.
Hmm.
This person just says it's a retread of Megamorphs 1, which they think is the worst Animorphs book.
They think Megamorphs 1 is, or this is?
Megamorphs 1 is. They said they like this one better than that.
I do prefer Megamorphs 1 because as much as I like the concept of the Buff-a-Human, the actual execution of the Valik to me is more interesting.
People are talking about that Aunt Cassie was terrifying, but they said it was
That's
too
true.
fast. This one says they didn't like it at all. There's not that many. It feels like people are kind of mid to mixed on it generally. I also feel like this is one of those examples where it's like part of my defense of the book is in reaction to your vehement dislike of it. Like, I don't think like I said, I'm not going to argue this is a great book, and it's certainly flawed. I just don't hate it.
You said a B. I mean, you didn't elevate from a C to a B because you were defending against me, did you?
Yeah, no.
That, to me, is still like way high.
I guess it's just like, yeah, maybe I don't know what my standards for Animorphs books, how different they are, but for me, B is like, it's like some of the logic is stupid, but it's like I had fun. I read it. I was entertained. I wasn't grimacing or groaning like you were. Yeah. I got in and out. I had a good time. It was over. Whatever.
Yeah, because I feel like even as an adult, when I reread the series, it's just like when I'm reading this book, it's just like I speed read it and then I kind of forgot everything that happened except for the buffalo because none of it was interesting, and that didn't bother me because didn't have to spend an entire week on it. Where that's like what I'm thinking about.
Well, I read it a day in advance, so I didn't sit with it for nearly as long.
It's not even about sitting with it. It's just being like, I can't be like, okay, I read it, on to the next one. Time to, next one. It's like, no, I read it. You can read the next one next week.
Yeah, that's nice. Maybe there's also just something that resonates more with me about the. Maybe this isn't true. I don't know, but maybe I do have a soft spot for, like I said, those kinds of Frankenstein stories of the like misshapen, mistreated creature that no one understands, and it probably is going to die, and it's sad. I like those kinds of movies. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I do like those kinds of stories. I like the Buff-a-Human. I like that it exists. I like that it's there.
Well, we agree.
It makes me happy.
There's not very many pop culture elements in this book.
No, this is a low pop culture book.
Very, very few. But here they are. Here's what we got. Cassie says they'd send an army, not one bald guy in a Ford Taurus. She felt a little like a 21st century Dr. Frankenstein. Important distinction. The doctor, not the monster. What does Wile E. Coyote do when he wants to squash the Roadrunner? He straps one of those Acme rockets to his back. No, he drops an anvil on him. Oh, that's how they got the idea. Next time we play Frisbee, you're on my team. Frisbee, capital F. Marco later says, meep, anvil time. Feeling that your entire body's shot full of Novocaine. Yeah. A whale the size of a FedEx truck. I mean, there's different sizes of FedEx trucks. So that's kind of confusing.
Yeah, it's a small whale is the point.
Somebody in Dolphin Morphed is one of those crazy Flipper-esque cackles. Like Flipper trademarked dolphin sounds. And Marco says, Jake's getting all Dharma and Greg on us with Cassie when they're thought speaking romantically to each other. Which I know that's like a show. What does that mean other than they're a couple?
Yeah, it means Marco made
Dharma
a reference, I guess. I don't know.
It was big.
Maybe we'll watch Dharma and Greg for the...
Yeah, maybe we need to watch Dharma and Greg. So... Yeah, I would be very curious if anyone wanted to write in, not to plug our Patreon, but because we don't have, I'm trying to think, how many books do we have that we really disagree on like this?
Yeah.
And how often is it you like it and I don't versus the other way around?
Yeah, we are in alignment actually quite frequently. That I am sure of. And I do think it's more common that I like it and you don't.
That's what I want to say in my head, but now I don't know if that's necessarily true anymore. Because I know
that is true.
I said The Forgotten and Megamorphs one. I know I liked, even though I don't think you hated it, I'm pretty sure I liked the separation more than you.
Yeah, and 27 I liked more than you. I think 28 we both disliked, but I liked less. But I feel like even then, on a lot of those books, it's pretty close. It's not like a wide gap like The Secret. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's an obvious big one.
Yeah, like Megamorphs one is fine. You just thought it was like good. I guess The Forgotten, The Secret, and now The Hidden. Yes, it's not that many books that are like a huge discrepancy.
But I do think there's something that this book has in common with both The Forgotten and Megamorphs 1, obviously Megamorphs 1. But I feel like all of them are these kinds of sort of like standalone almost adventure stories that are just sort of like fast-paced thrill ride adventures without much bearing on other things. That I don't know if I'm quite getting at the heart of what it is that I like that you don't, but I think there's a thread there somewhere.
You might be, because like if you go to The Secret, it's like you're like, we didn't go anywhere, we sat in a skunk den. And I was like, yeah, I liked sitting in the skunk den. Like it really is, like that is like the opposite of this here. Like, I don't know, I mean it could be something, because like it's not like I don't love like action movies and that shit. There could be something like when I'm seeing something really exciting happening in text, I just don't feel the excitement unless you like really make me feel it, right? Like when I'm reading something, I'm more in like slow contemplative mode. So when you give me a bunch of fast paced stuff, I'm like, whatever, in a way, like, like a more audio visual medium can grab me in that way. And maybe you're not like that. You can be grabbed by it in the book.
Yeah, and I think, like you said before, there's a lot to be said for the fact that this is the first time I'm reading it. Yeah, and I don't know what to expect. So every new weird thing is exciting to me, in a different kind of way.
Do you like this book better than last book, or similarly, or did you like last book better?
Last book was what happened? What was the last book again?
The aliens came and Axe was like Estrid and
no, I think that book was probably better overall.
Okay.
I think that was definitely a better book. Yeah.
Okay.
And maybe I'm also like at a point in the Animorph series where I'm expecting trash. And I'm just like, yeah, it's like, it's they said Helmacron in the beginning and I got worried, for me it was like, well, it's better than fucking Helmacrons, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to give you some hope and some despair. I am sure, even if you ignore the Elemist Chronicles, right, which is the Chronicles are different, even ignoring that, I don't think we have done yet what is going to be your favorite book this season. I think we have a book this season that's going to be like much
I hope
better
so.
Than
There's like 8 books left still.
Yeah.
There better be a better one.
I also don't think we have done what's going to be your least favorite book this season.
Now that is very concerning.
I'm also positive that my least favorite book and yours are going to be different, and that my favorite and your favorite are going to be different. I'm positive about both those things.
This is fascinating.
We're going to see. I'm making some predictions.
I can't wait to find out. I can't wait. Maybe I also just like that this book was short.
That could be.
Went by quick. Went down easy. All right. Look.
All right. Yeah, that's enough of that.
Sometimes on this show, we're going to argue a little bit. That's just how it is. We're not always going to agree on everything, guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's sort of the fun of it. And sometimes one of us is going to completely fuck up their Cinnabon order. And you're going to have to head over to patreon.com, patreon.com/the Yerky Boys to see just how bad he fucked up.
Yeah, and you'll be like, oh, actually, that was fine. I was expecting something bad. Jesus, John is really upset. That's what you're going to think. Trust me, it's worth your time and money to go check it out.
See. But more so than that, hopefully this week he doesn't just watch the wrong movie, but I wouldn't put it past him. We are going to be talking about the 1980s David Cronenberg version of The Fly.
Yep. I already got it. It's the one where it goes, help me. It's from the 50s, right? Don't worry, I'm on it. I'm
100%.
definitely. Yeah.
100%. Yeah. How can they email us?
They can email us yerkyboys@gmail.com. Please write in and tell us your thoughts on The Hidden. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Do you think that we're both idiots and neither one of us understood this book? Let us know.
Did you say it's the yerkyboys@gmail.com? Just want to make that clear.
Okay,
I don't know.
The yerkyboys@gmail.com. If I didn't say that, that is what it is.
It's in the show notes. You can follow me online. Check out my other podcast, Geeks on Trial, where I give out sentences to geeks who have committed crimes. Usually it's death is my punishment for them. You can find that on your podcast platform of choice, or it's on YouTube. And you can check out everything else I do on my website, jonathanestis.com. My name.
Yeah. Don't look for me. Thanks, everyone, for listening.
Tune
in next time when we'll be talking about Book 40, The Other, in which Marco turns into a bee on the Yerky Boys.